little bit about you from what I've gathered. This man is a father, husband, entrepreneur, and a really hardworking guy. He
Well,
got an idea from a gift of some habanero peppers by a coworker, then started an angry duck revolution. This is Mr. Eric Weinmiller.
yeah,
Did I
very
say it
good.
right?
Thank you.
Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
very nice and smooth. Yeah. Thank
So
you very much for the introduction.
uh,
I,
it's
I,
it,
I appreciate it.
it's my pleasure, man. It's my pleasure. So, I mean, Brooklyn Bridge, is that where you work, or?
Yeah, I was working there at the time. I work heavy construction in New York City, so I bounce around a lot. I go to different sites all the time. I happen to be there for, I was there for a substantial amount of time. I made some very good friends there. And yeah, I mean, after working with, if you're working in blue collar industry, just like a lot of industries, you work in blue collar industry, you really create a family and a home with these guys, and you start to know your likes and dislikes, and a lot of guys knew I was into food, so they would bring different stuff. Culturally, it's very diverse in the construction community. So you're getting stuff from, oh man, from the West Indies. You're getting stuff from Italy and Portugal, and
Cool.
it's great to be able to try all these things. So one of my friends, he was an Italian guy from Brooklyn, and he happened to grow hot peppers. And I always put hot stuff on my breakfast, and I always like spice.
Right.
And Yeah, so he came in one day with this bag of habanero peppers, and it would just turned into something because it was such a big bag of peppers, and I couldn't use it for what I was normally using it for because they were just so hot. I was used to like jalapenos and like some basic hot stuff,
Yep.
and I wasn't slicing it up and putting it on my bagel. It was just too much. It
Right.
was so my then girlfriend, now my wife, we were together and we were trying to figure out different recipes, and we were trying different things and multitudes of different recipes, and just trying to figure out, but they're very overpowering pepper. And then we just kind of created this little condiment thing that we started using. And this is like 10 plus years ago. We started using it with friends and family. Um, and it became something that we couldn't stop making. Basically, everybody requested it, and it was just like at any time, it's time consuming, and chop the peppers and the pineapples, and like
Right.
it's the whole thing. So, um, so it was on and off, and we were doing it for a long time, and then lo and behold, like late 2019, some friends really kind of started badgering us, like, listen, you should just do this and just make it happen. And we did. We started it in 2020, and beginning of 2020, which was exciting. You get the whole business formed around it, and you have an idea and the product, and then you start with the design and marketing and all the other stuff for it. And then obviously, March hit, and things changed a little bit. And we kind of came up with the the thought of, listen, if not now, when? What are we waiting for? I know the whole world is going crazy and all that stuff, but this is something that we can still focus on. We could still make something out of. And if it takes us a little longer, it takes us a little longer. But there was no reason to stop. And we just kept plugging away, and certain things were slowed down. And then you got into this aspect of certain things actually worked in your favor because there weren't a lot of people doing a lot of things that were going outside their comfort zone, really, and reaching out to different people. And people started in this era of social distancing, like not even socializing through media at some point. People got very closed off, and it held a lot of people back, and it's very unfortunate. But we didn't really let that kind of stuff get to us. We just reached out to people and found good connections with manufacturers and marketing people and t-shirt people and the flag guy, and like, yeah, exactly. So it turned into something. And then we started reaching out on social media, and the love and response from the people on social media, it was like, man, I was never a social media person, so I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what to expect. And you hear these horror stories about so many people are negative and this and that, whatever. And yeah, that stuff is out there, but the
Yep.
positivity is really, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And it's been the driving force behind us. I mean, the sauce is the sauce, and
Yep.
we love it, and it's fun, and it makes food fun, and it's exciting and all that stuff. But it's really the aspect of meeting all these people and going through this process, it feels like going through it with everybody.
Yeah.
And and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
You,
So we're blessed. We really are. It's just such a great thing.
well, dude, you're doing just an awesome job. I'm following you on social
Thank you.
media. If
Thank you.
anybody's watching my Instagram, I've been doing a little bit of a build up to this, and
Hmm.
Eric sent me a couple of bottles,
Yeah.
and every it took 4 days for me to finish one. That's how good it was. I
Yep.
replaced ketchup with it,
Yeah.
and then
It's
every time I had something different, I would try it out. Really,
yeah.
really good. I mean, you're
Yeah,
bang
I
on.
tell you, over the 10 years, we've pretty much tried it on everything. And it's, it goes on everything from our breakfast stuff to, it's been on vanilla ice cream before. It's just a thing, man. It's a thing because it's just fun. It's not hot. It's not crazy. It's not anything nuts.
No,
It's just a fun condiment. It really is just
yeah,
fun. It's like a little party every time you open a bottle and you just try to figure out something else to put it on just so you can get more in. I
yeah,
guess,
yeah. Like you can't. You one of your slogans is "fuck ketchup,"
Yeah.
and I love that. I got the
Yeah,
stickers
that
over
was like,
here.
yeah.
Awesome.
I hear. You know what it is? I was kind of like I was probably in a mood that day. And and a lot of people just ask me, "Oh, what do you use it on? What do you use it on? What do you use it on?" I'm like, I don't know, chicken and rice and make wings and whatever, like the typical stuff. And then I was like, you know what? You can pretty much use it on anything that you use ketchup on. It goes on, potatoes and uh, hot dogs and whatever. Like it goes on whatever you want. It's just, so in my head it was like fuck ketchup, man. Like you don't even
Yeah,
need it. So
yeah.
it turned into a thing, and like I said, I still work having instructions. So the guys, like, most of the guys I work with, pretty much every guy I work with is just that fun kind of maybe not abrasive, but you know what I'm saying, like that fun kind of roughneck dude. And
Gotcha.
that was just a good thing for like hard hat stickers and whatever,
Yeah,
so I just threw it up there, and it's an eye catcher, and it's
yeah.
something that's fun. And what listen, I love ketchup. I have no problem with ketchup, but it's not, it's not a problem with the ketchup. It's just now people can kind of get an idea of where you can use it and how you can use it, and that it's something like that, and that we're a fun, maybe slightly aggressive sometimes, but we're a fun company, and
Are you classified as a New Yorker, or are you a New Jerseyer?
yeah, I am a New Yorker. I live in New Jersey now. Typically, if you meet a lot of people from New Jersey, they all say that. That's like a running joke in New Jersey. It's like somebody says, "Yeah, I live in New Jersey, but I'm from over here." But in my life, I've moved so many different places. I'll always say I'm from New York. I was born and raised in Westchester. I moved down south for a little while throughout my young adulthood and adolescent years and stuff like that, and then I moved back and um, started working in heavy construction, and I lived in this area for the last 22 years steadily, and we moved out to Jersey for some crazy reasons, and Superstorm Sandy, and there's a whole huge
Right,
side of our story,
right.
that's eventually, the more we do this, the more that stuff is going to be
I, I,
prevalent.
I got a
People are
question.
going to see the real driving force behind how we got to where we are. And
Right.
it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And I feel like with this, hopefully it grants me the ability to really give an honest thank you to the friends and family and the coworkers that really helped me get to this point in my life. Because I plan on giving back in major ways, and I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for
And
that.
man, that's why I wanted to have you on. You're actually
I can't wait.
like your story is so inspiring um, to other business owners. Like in a time where businesses are shutting down, they're cutting back, um, closing doors altogether. It looks like you're actually prospering, and I mean, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's really, it's like everybody, like the guys at work have been seeing me go through this for a long time, and
Right.
the running question is, "Oh, you making any money? You making?" And I was like, it's
Mm,
not, it's not about that yet. It's really not about the money. And like, if you talk to anybody that that does something that's like a passion project,
Yeah.
it sounds corny. It sounds super corny. Ah, it's not about the money. Okay, it does sound corny, but eventually, it's really not, because if it was about the money, trust me, we wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's not, it's not easy to get to the point where you're a profitable business at all.
Yeah.
Let alone in an industry that has literally thousands of people doing the same thing, similar products and all the other stuff that, and, I get the question a lot, aren't you afraid of all those competitors and all that stuff and whatever? To be honest with you, I don't look at anybody as a competitor. I'm not a competitive person by nature. I never have been. So
Same.
for me, it's something that I'm not competing with somebody else. I'm just looking for a small share of the same market. Like, we can share people. I have probably 10 different condiments in my refrigerator right now. So why wouldn't I have an 11th? Like, what's the difference? Why am I I'm not trying to knock anybody out of the box. Like,
no,
if you have 12 condiments in there, make a number 13, whatever. It's not about that. And to think in a competitive nature like that, I would say any kind of small brand food product, if you ever thought like that, you're up for demise right away, because it's not gonna, you can't let that get in your head. You have to do it for your own reasons. And I'm doing it for my own reasons. And, I believe that we're going to be just fine, and the product is going to be just fine. And regardless, whether it makes it, whether it sinks or swims or whatever, I have the ability to make it in my own kitchen, and I'm the owner of it. And I tried it, and I showed, I have
got the recipe.
Girl,
Got the recipe.
Yeah, trust me. That's things ingrained in there.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those things that it's been a learning experience, and I'm able to show my two kids that, there's more to life than going through a 9 to 5. You can use creativity and have fun and involve, other people in your life and in your projects, and it fulfills something. It changes something in you. Because I know me, it's definitely given me, I don't know what it's given me. It's given me more of me. It's shown me more of me,
More
if
of
that makes sense.
yeah, like a sense of pride. And
Yeah, it's just seeing like, everybody goes through hard times,
Yep.
right? So everybody goes through hard times. When hard times come, you don't know as an individual. You can say, I'm going to react like this. You can say, I'm going to do this. Or if you look at somebody else from the outside in, oh, I would have done this and I would have done this. Well, there's a thing about hard times that people don't realize until you're in it, the way you're going to react, right? It doesn't happen always the way you're going to think. And that's why, you have to put yourself through stress, whether it's stress of trying to be creative and being an entrepreneur, or stress of going to the gym, or stress of having those long talks with somebody that you really have been avoiding, and you can put yourself through that and you grow from that stuff. So this, for me, no matter what it is, all these little stresses that I've been dealing with, whether it's simple stuff of getting the printing on the coloration on the shirt right versus our label, and all that little stuff that I'm purposely, listen, it's my choice to go through all this stuff.
Yeah.
But all that stuff is building in me a character for when I do have those random other weird stresses in my life. I'll have developed something that will be able to combat that stuff. And it'll happen within my subconscious. It'll happen naturally. It's not going to happen. It's not something I'm going to have to sit down and think of. It's just going to be my body's reacting to another type of stress.
Human growth.
It's pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty cool stuff. And, within this project, or whatever you want to call this, it's been a part of my life where I've now started listening, to stuff that really does help with, managing stress and understanding where this stuff comes from. Meanwhile, not too long ago, I'd just be listening to music all day and this and that and whatever, and just going through my life all kind of la-di-da and making it happen. And hey, I have nothing to be ashamed of with that. I'm living my life, and I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of my kids, and, enjoying my little hobbies and doing, whatever I've been doing for the last 40 years. And it's been great. But now there's something that, it's opened up a whole new side to me, and it's letting me see my own strength really, and it's been great. It's been great.
It's
And
almost
there's
like
been
you were ready for that next level in your life without even realizing that it was coming.
yeah. I mean, I don't. I think my
Excuse me.
general state of things was I was, happy and fulfilled, and all that stuff has been great. But maybe I just kind of wanted, instead of waiting for the next big stress to happen, I figure, you know what, I'll give it to myself,
Yeah.
and I'll focus on this, and it won't let me, if idle time for me, I'm the type of person with any kind of idle time, it's not good. It's just not a good thing. I don't, my brain gets all wacky, and I get all flustered, and things start moving too fast, and I start looking for issues, so what I do is I just put myself under pressure. I have, beyond angry duck, I have so many other things going on in my life that keep me fulfilled. They keep my mind busy. And then I have, regular stuff, wife, kids, career, all the regular stuff that everybody has. But with angry duck, it gives me a little bit of an outlet.
Yeah.
It gives me more of that outlet, and I get to share it with other people. It's crazy because my other main hobbies, like I like exercise and fitness and all that stuff, but I'm a car freak.
Cool.
Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, tell my wife it's cool. Thank God she's an angel, because I have a major issue with cars. I've
what's
always had it since I
what's
was a little kid.
what's your brand?
Oh,
All of them? You're not a
yeah,
Ford
it's
guy
crazy.
or a Chevy guy or
No, so right, yeah, right. I mean, right now I have like, I don't know, half a dozen cars, and yeah, I'm a car freak. I like any car brand or manufacturer. I can pick something that I would just fall in love with and drive head over heels, no problem. There's not one manufacturer out there that doesn't make something that I would enjoy, because I like the driving experience. It doesn't have to be the fastest car. It doesn't have to be the biggest truck. It doesn't have to be all that stuff. It's just, I love them for what they are. They're mechanical marvels, and you can do 200 miles an hour in them, and you can be safe,
gotcha.
and you can do, like, it's just, and I like working on them, and it's like therapy, and it's a beautiful thing that I've done since I was a little kid. So for me, it's a great outlet for me as an individual. But when you have a family, you know, being out there working on the cars all day, it kind of
Yeah.
separates you from that. The kids aren't old enough to help me. The wife doesn't
Yeah.
want anything to do with that part. She likes riding in them and having fun with them. But
Yeah. What
that's about that.
what do you have in the collection?
So, so I have the one car that I'm married to, that I won't get rid of. Everything else is a rotational vehicle, right?
Right.
So I have one car I'm married to, and that's a '71 Nova. Um,
Nice.
it's a good car. Yeah, it's everything I have is black, except I have one green car, but
Hey,
everything I
me
have,
too. Right on.
yeah. So all my,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like black. It's just my thing. But so I have a '71 Nova. It's a small block car with a 4-speed and whatever. It's a lot of fun, aggressive muscle car. Then I have a hot rod pickup truck that I'm actually doing right now for the business. It's going to be the Angry Duck truck.
Cool.
It's a 2002 Silverado that's lowered onto the frame. Looks like a real California truck. It's real low. It's has a some nice work done to the engine, and it's also a stick shift truck, which is super rare for those trucks.
Yep.
So we're going to do that with I have it in paint and body right now. We're going to do that with some graphics and stuff for the business. And that's going to be like a promotional vehicle for us for when we do, plan on doing some food truck stuff and some, we have whatever, we have a thousand different things planned. So we have that. And then I'm thinking about doing a giveaway vehicle. So in the midst of doing it, yeah, I know that's a big
Wow.
deal, because I know everybody's giving away vehicles. So it's like, it's cool. But I'm doing a giveaway vehicle that's more for like the common person, like not like $100,000 giveaway vehicle that somebody's probably just going to likely sell as soon as they get it, or they're going to crash it and you're going to waste
Yeah.
$100,000 on building a vehicle because somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to build a nice regular vehicle, regular and still a special vehicle. It's I believe this is going to be the one, unless I end up keeping it. I don't know, because I end up
Wow.
keeping some stuff. It's a 2001 Mustang Bullet. It's a dark Highland green. They're numbered cars. They only made like whatever 3,000 or 4,000 of them, something like that. So I'm I got that car and I'm gonna redo it as nice as possible, so everything is working in it as correct. And a few aftermarket parts make it fun to drive for the individual.
Wow.
That's another stick shift car. I will do an automatic car soon, but and then I have a little Volkswagen GTI because I like little German cars. They're
Gotcha.
fun. They're peppy and fun.
I
And
had a little
then
rabbit at one point.
yeah, they're great.
Yep.
They're just nimble
Yep.
and they're a totally different aspect of driving.
Yep.
It's like I like muscle car stuff, and then I like all of it. I like Jeeps. I like trucks. I like everything, man. I like heavy machinery. I like big toy box toys and all kinds of stuff. I like it all. To me, mechanics are great, and it's amazing that these things can work. And it's awesome stuff.
Were you a mechanic in your previous career? In a previous career,
Nah,
or
I never did it professionally. I just always messed
backyard
around.
mechanic?
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
shady tree mechanic guy, and I learned. My whole family was in to cars and still is, and so I get a lot of that from there. And it's like I said, it's working on cars is more than just fixing cars. It's something that's extremely therapeutic. It's a great thing to spend your time. It's basically like figuring out a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're not doing it for a job and you're doing it
Yep.
because you have a passion for it, if you're not doing it for a paycheck, then I think there's a totally different aspect to it.
I think you hit it right on the head. It's exactly like a puzzle on a much
Yeah.
larger scale for
hmm
big boys.
hmm
Yeah, I've
Then you
got.
get to drive the crap out of them.
That's
You could
right.
send them sideways and blow the tires off of them, and just have so much fun with them, and make all kinds of cool noises, and man, it's great. It's just such a great experience.
12 cars. Damn.
Well, no, I
Damn.
have six right now.
6. Okay.
Yeah, I have six right now, and I have which is but I've gone through, and my wife and I were trying to count the other day. I mean, I have gone through a lot of cars. I'm going to say north of 50 cars in my buying and selling career.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. It's got to be. It has to be close to that.
Are
It
you
has to be.
more of a buyer and then keeper and drive the shit out of it, or
Yeah,
do you get into the
I usually
flipping?
don't keep them very long. I usually
Okay.
keep them a year, maybe. Some of my daily driver stuff, like that I would take to work and stuff. Those vehicles have lasted a little bit longer,
Hmm.
as far as keeping them with me and taking care of them on a more steady basis. But typically, I try to buy stuff that's a little not rare, like people think rare and they think expensive. When I say a rare car, it's a desirable car.
Hmm.
Not all rare cars are expensive cars. Rare cars are typically desirable. Like you can find, um, like any year Corvette. You could find one a good dollar amount, and they're not that expensive and all this stuff. And that car is most likely. Not going to be as highly sellable as maybe a specific model for a specific year, that the guy that's really going to pay that extra money, he's looking for that car. He's looking
Right.
for a double black Z06 with low mileage on it. And if you compare that to a regular Corvette of the same year, it might be double or triple the value. But when you purchase the car, that value is there, and it's not just another Corvette going down the road. And you have to wait for specific buyers for these vehicles to come along and give you that extra money. But it's part of the hobby. Usually
Yeah.
the people that come for those vehicles that know what they're looking at, you gain a rapport with them and you
Yep.
talk to them. And it's just another, like I said, it's another outlet. It's another way to be social with people, and really to stay in touch with other people, because I think that's a big thing that we're missing nowadays is, I mean, I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but we have masks, and it's
Yep.
a consistent thing here. And listen, we all abide by it. I don't ever see anybody bucking the trend and going around maskless. Like, that's just whatever. But in the
I've
same
seen it here.
respect, you know, yeah, it's I've seen it on video. I haven't seen it locally. So I haven't really had any kind of experience with it. Nor would I, even if it was next to me. I really wouldn't. Whatever it is, what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not here to run anybody else's life. I'm here to run. I got two little kids. I'm trying to run their life. And that's
That's
hard
right.
enough. Yeah,
That's right. I
So,
hear you. I hear you.
but what I'm finding is that people all of a sudden they put a mask on, and it's like, ooh, you can't see me. Like they're invisible. Like you could stand right next to somebody and you say excuse me and they don't even hear you and stuff like that. Like I think we're really starting to have like social breakdown that way. You know, you're not hiding by putting a mask on. You're
No.
really not. You know, you're there. I'm here. I can hear you. You can hear me. We can touch each other. You know,
Yep.
you're still. This is reality. It's
Yep.
not virtual reality. Like
Yep.
we're really here. You know, and we're really doing the same thing together. So you know, it's good to maybe force yourself out there to be more social and to talk to people. You know, go to the grocery store, you talk to the person at the register. Just because there's a piece of plexiglass and you got a mask and she's got a mask or he's got a mask, you know, whatever it is, ask them how their day is. Are you doing good? Are you just getting off your shift? Are you just starting? You know, be nice to people.
Just be nice. Yeah.
Just be nice. Just that's all you got to do.
That's
That's
it.
all
Yeah.
you have to do is just be an honest, good, nice person. And
It's so simple to say and so it's simple to hear, but out there is
it's rare.
I actually went
Rare.
grocery shopping before a couple hours ago, and I'm in my local Walmart, and there are people in there not wearing masks, and I thought it was like, is it as so I'm up in Canada. I
Mhm.
watch American news. Um,
Great.
yeah, 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 yeah. Is it as bad in New York for? Is it as bad as they're making it seem?
What do you mean bad? I mean, I don't know what's
Well,
bad. Like, what's
okay,
bad? You know,
so
people are living their life.
okay,
I
okay.
don't know. You know,
So
I
they're
don't. I don't know.
just like, it's crazy. Like, it's just crazy there.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's so crazy. Listen, it's New York. I mean, come on. You have like whatever it is, 12 million people packed into a 7 mile island. I mean, what do you think is gonna happen? You know, you take four mice and you put them in a bathtub, they're gonna have a good time. You take 4,000 mice, you put them in a bathtub. What are they gonna do? You know, they're stepping all over each other. I mean,
That's
that's
right.
what it is. I mean, it's you know, I don't think there's any more or less in New York than there is, you know, it's just per capita crazy people. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
what it is, you know, and there's nothing, you know, people that live in urban areas, you know, typically, you know, I've lived in urban areas. Typically, you get very comfortable with the convenience of living in an urban area.
True. Yeah.
And
I'm from a
listen, if
city myself.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's easy. It's easy to live in an urban area and have everything basically at your fingertips. You have a park up the street, you have a grocery store around the corner, you have a liquor store over here, you have McDonald's right over there. You know, everything is walking distance. Your apartment is pretty close to where you work. And you know, the mass transit is there, so you don't have to take a car. You can ride a bicycle, you can exercise whenever you want because you just walk out the door, hit the street, hit your feet, and have a great time. So, with all those conveniences, you know, they come. It brings other things. You know, you're in close proximity to a lot of people, and you know, if you're in a up and coming area or a worse area than a neighborhood, you know, close to you, you know, your expenses are going to start going up because those. Listen, nice areas encroach on bad areas just as much as bad areas encroach on good areas. You know,
Hmm.
so you know all the cost differences they change and they fluctuate and you know people are so comfortable when they're in an urban environment that these big changes like this, there's people I know in New York, they will never ever leave the city, and it doesn't matter if that place is going crazy or the you know whatever their issues social issues might be over there. um, in certain areas, you know, there's people that love their home and they love being in the city. So, you know, it goes through ebbs and flows in the city, and unfortunately, right now, it's exciting for the media to talk about the negativity that's going on. You
Yeah.
know, but there's a lot of positivity going on too. You know, there's a lot of courtesy, and there's a lot of small businesses really trying to keep their communities together and putting money into the communities and trying to clean up with all these crazy rules of you can have food on the sidewalk but you can't have it inside and you got to get a bubble, and then they're putting people literally out on the street with tables in Manhattan, which is bonkers, you know, because you have cars flying by these people literally on the street. And it's just, you know, it's just a crazy situation everybody's trying to adapt to. But, you know, what I tell people is just don't watch the news. Just go out there and live life. Like
That's
go
the
out there
truth.
and see it. You know, go out there and see it. Go out there and it starts in your house. It starts in your house. You be a good person in your house and then be a good person in your community and then make it wider and wider and wider from there. You know, your house, your family, your community, start with you. And that's that's what we teach the kids, and that's what we try. That's how we try to live our life. And
It's a great way of looking at it. That's just a great philosophy.
it's pretty simple, really. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not taking care of your own house, then who are you to say anything to anybody else? Like, if you have a total shit show running around your place, then I don't want to hear you yelling at somebody in Walmart about a mask. And
Yeah.
if you don't like that guy, just stay more than 6 feet away from him. Like, walk away.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
That's exactly what I do. Exactly what I do. Yeah.
Just walk away. Just be like, hey man, whatever. Oh yeah, I didn't realize. It's like walking around. Listen, you walk around New York City every now and then, you see somebody, peeing on the sidewalk. You don't walk over to him and be like, hey man, you might want to put that away. No, you turn around, you walk the other way because you don't want to be a part of what's going on.
You just sort of mind. It's just called minding your own business.
Yeah,
You just mind your own business. That's it. Just carry on.
That's another thing because listen, they have the mask on and they think they're invincible or impervious to somebody getting to them. Listen, it's that's a scary thing right there. It's a scary thing. People feel they have more safety than they really have by putting this mask on. It's going to create a barrier between you and the next person. Listen, yeah, for spit and phlegm and all that stuff, that's fine. But the reality is somebody can still reach out and touch you if they ever had to.
If they had to, yeah. Yeah.
So be careful with what you say and how you treat people, because there's a reality out there that, most people just, they don't even think can happen. And I think that's where some of this stuff is coming from because, people are confined in the city and they are very close proximity to each other, whether it's on mass transit or on the sidewalk or
right.
just going into a building entrance and stuff like that. And people are very edgy,
Yeah.
and that's a tough one.
Have you gotten it or know anybody that's gotten it?
So I do. I know plenty of people that have had it. I actually had a friend of mine at work, a very close friend of mine. It was early on. It was last March, and they say he passed away because of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he wasn't tested for it, and that's what they what they assume, right?
Yeah.
It was all the symptoms, it was all the signs, but it was early March I think it was early March of last year, and he passed away, unfortunately. So we were sick. I typically, knock on wood, I typically don't get very sick. Last year I think it was late February, early March, again, before it had a name, before COVID was a thing. My kids were sick, and then my wife and I got sick, and the kids all went for testing at the doctor's, and the doctor basically told us, listen, there's something going around the area. It's not the flu. We don't know what it is, but most of the kids in the area have it right now. And most of the adults have it also, So I've had on and off sickness every now and then in my life. I've been around medical issues and stuff like that. So I'm pretty aware of my body and how to treat myself. And, when I started feeling ill, it was, for me, it lasted a little longer than like my wife was a couple days on the worst side of it. Me, it was probably about 5 or 6 days on the worst side of it, where, like all the symptoms, I had the fever, I had the elephant on my chest, I had all that stuff. So what we're assuming is that that's what it was at that time. We didn't know, we just thought we had whatever this non-flu thing was. Both kids had conjunctivitis, which is a sign for the little ones, so we assume that's what it was, but we weren't. I did have an antibody test recently, but they said, well, it's been so long that it probably won't show. It didn't show anything. So, it is what it is.
Good for you.
That's yeah. I don't honestly, I don't really worry about it too much. It's
I think
we go out there. Listen, we do everything that we're supposed to be doing. We're washing our hands. We take care of the kids. We go out there with masks. We do what we're supposed to do.
So. Affects everybody differently. I've got my very first guest, good friend of mine. He got it. Former MMA fighter. He had a little tickle in his throat. Was down for a day, and he was up and ready to go within the week. And my another guy I met, he had everything you said times about 100. Terrible headache.
Yeah.
The
headache. Yeah, that was
knock on wood. I haven't gotten it. But I got H1N1 in 2009.
Okay.
So, and I know exactly how I got it. Some guy sneezed, and I was working for Pepsi at the time, and he goes, "Achoo!" and I'm pulling this pallet of Pepsi, and I'm like, fuck, I can't stop this fucking pallet now.
Yeah.
So I hold
Listen.
my breath and I walk through it. And then a day later, I go to a call. I was merchandising for Pepsi. That's where you put the pop on the shelves.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So I go to my first call in the morning, and my routine was I would wake up, I'd get in the hot tub, warm myself up, I go downstairs, I'd lift weights for an hour, and then I go to
Yeah.
work. And that morning, I woke up, was feeling really cold, but it was like 4 o'clock in the morning and it was
Mhm.
winter, so I was like, I'm just colder than usual.
Fair. Yeah.
So I get in the hot tub. Hot
Canada.
tubs, yeah, yeah, exactly, right. In the middle of winter, minus
Yeah.
40.
Fuck.
Hot tubs set to 104.
Oh wow.
So I get out, I go try to do a couple of sets downstairs. Nothing is really working. So I have some breakfast. I go to work. I go to my first call, and one of the managers looks at me and says, "Man, you don't look so good. Usually you got that tan on you, but you look pale as a ghost. You better go see somebody." I was like, "Yeah, I don't feel so good." So I actually went to the emergency room,
Oh wow.
and yeah, I had a fever, and so they told me my fever was like 103 or 103 or 102, and I was like,
Yeah, that's substantial.
I was in my hot tub this morning. That's set to 104. Is that bad? They're like, yeah, don't do that again.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay. So
Just
yeah,
put a couple bags of ice in there and turn it off. How about
yeah,
that?
exactly. So I was down for about 3 weeks, and I couldn't move. My daughter had just been born. My first daughter,
Uh-huh.
she was like a month old, and I was
Yeah.
quarantined to the
Tough.
basement. Yeah, it was brutal actually. The only ones that could be with me were the
Tough.
dogs.
Yeah.
But but yeah,
Yeah, I
so
hear you.
I'm with
Yeah.
all this going on, I'm just taking every precaution. Like you, I'm washing the hands.
Listen,
I wear my mask when I go out.
do what you can. You do what you can do.
Yeah.
And there's certain. Listen, I'm not a holistic natural remedy, whatever. It's I'm not far to one side or the other side of really anything. I like to learn. I like to learn. If you can make a good point about something, I'm all ears. I'm
Yeah.
not the smartest person in the world, so um, listen, teach me something. Show me something. But there's basic things that you can do as an individual to help your immune system and to listen. Drink a lot of water, hydrate.
Yep.
Hydrate. I can't say that enough to people. And try to get some exercise in. Try to build up cardio so your heart is nice and strong. Try to build up. Do something where there's a little bit of wind work, where you're breathing heavy. Huffing and puffing is good for you. It's better to huff and puff when you want to than when you need to.
Yep.
Because when you need to, you really need to.
Yep.
So if
That's a
your
good
lungs are
way of
weak
looking
and you
at it.
yeah, man, it's way better because you have to force yourself to do this stuff. You have to. There's no there's no amount of stuff that's out there that's going to help you as much as you helping yourself, right? So they can say, listen, we have antiviral meds, we have this stuff, we have this stuff, we have this stuff. That's great, but the trick is to not need all that stuff. The trick is to strengthen your body to a point where you can combat as much as you possibly can before you need that stuff. You don't want to be like, oh, I stubbed my toe, I got to go to the fucking emergency room. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's that's not the way we were designed. We were designed to strengthen ourselves and consistently strengthen ourselves. So with something like this, they've been telling us since the beginning. Yes, I understand the whole social thing with gyms, and that was a total shit show, shutting everything down, and people are, you're trying to keep us home and keep us fat. Well, listen, if you stay home and you don't create a regimen for yourself and do something for yourself, I'm sorry, but that's on you.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
gym is not the only place you can gain exercise and get physical activity. It
Yep.
doesn't, that's not reality. Just get off your ass and do something. It doesn't matter what you do. It just do something. Walk around. Stop sitting down.
Yep.
Walk around. And it's like the most basic of things to people. And then they started saying, after a few months with people getting sick with COVID, that was one of the first things they came up with. They were like, oh, you know what, it would be good if you had some, even if you're feeling down and if you have COVID, you're quarantined around the house, don't sit around, don't stay still, try to move as much as you can. Don't overexert yourself. Obviously, don't be a dummy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just keep moving. My stepfather had it. He was, he's an older guy. I think he just turned 70, but so he had it last year, and it was the first thing I said. I said, listen, I said, don't don't go crazy, don't go out there mowing the lawn and shit, but at the same time, don't just sit around the house and be lethargic and whatever. When you have energy, use it, drink plenty of fluids.
Yeah.
And and then there's some supplements and stuff that I take, nothing crazy, but some good supplements, and I have a good supplement company that I utilize, and I sent him down some stuff, and I said, listen, just take this stuff. It helps with hydration. It's basic nutrition and stuff like that. So at least you're getting all your basics in. And then if you can eat more food, eat more food. If you can exercise a little bit or walk around or whatever, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
The human body is an amazing thing, and for people to, I run into guys a year later and they haven't done anything for themselves, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you here. I'm like, I'm not a perfect person.
Like they're asking you what should I do? What should I do?
No, they're just they're complaining about the fact that they're so worried about getting COVID and doing this and doing that, and I said, well, that's fine. I said, and you can be nervous about that because that's a real thing. Listen, it's a real thing. It's an absolute real thing. But there's a ton of other real things that are really out there to get you. And in this country, I don't know what it's like in Canada. I'm sure it's semi-close, but there's over 800,000 people a year die from heart disease. So what are we doing?
Where's the cure? Where's the vaccine for that?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, why is KFC still open? What are they doing? What is going on here? I don't, because I can go down and get French fries anytime I want. It's not like I don't, I hate, I'm not simplifying it like that, but that's reality. Like there's so many other things that people are doing that are killing themselves.
Yeah.
And they're preventable. It's truly preventable.
Sometimes for some people, all it takes is a health scare, and that'll get them going. Yeah. I mean, for me, I had a little bit of one. I got to 300 pounds. I'm 5'9". And I got,
that's getting there.
Yeah, man. I got to 295. I was actually bald. I was your stereotypical fat guy. Mm-hmm. I was bald, fat, smoked cigarettes.
Yeah.
I drank on the weekends.
Yeah.
Weed is legal here, right? So it's like, you know what, honey? I gotta go to the garage before I go to bed.
Sure. Makes
right?
me sleep.
Yeah, exactly. It helps me. Yeah, exactly. It helps me sleep. But I'm eating the fridge out.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Peeling the paint off the walls, trying to make potato chips. Yeah.
Yeah. So I quit.
Listen. I mean, nobody's. It's not easy. It's not. And like I said, I'm not trying to simplify all this stuff. It's not easy, especially if you've been in. Like I had a conversation today with my mother, and she's like, if you eat protein as a snack, it's more filling and whatever. And I was like, yeah, but a bowl of cereal tastes better. I said, I'd like to have chicken breast at 10 o'clock at night because I want to snack on something. I said, that's fine. I said, if you can do that, do that. If you can have a protein shake and you that's filling to you, do that. But at the same time, like if you don't overindulge and you don't overstimulate all those sugar senses in your body all the time, then you know what? If you need a little bit of carbohydrates at the end of the day, because listen, they carbohydrates will do the same thing as smoking a bowl. They give you that feeling of satisfaction because you just had a bowl of cereal, and then all of a sudden you get a carbo crash and you sleep like a baby after that. So that's why, that's why do you think you pass out after dessert? Like it's not magical.
Very true. Very true.
So there's things again that you can do that will work,
But you're right though. It all starts with you, right? Like for me, I went from working out all the time to actually I know why that happened to me. I went through a little bit of depression. I just wasn't happy with where I was at, right?
Yep.
So I looked at the scale.
Easy. That's an easy one. Yeah.
295. Fuck this noise. I got to get out, start moving.
Yeah.
Right? My son is he's got his degree in kinesiology. So, he helped me out. We got talking about nutrition again and, some of the old school stuff I learned over the years. I just started. Yeah, man. But it's like you've been saying though, it starts with you, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not going to be the one that's making the change, nobody's going to make it for you.
No.
Right?
No, it is. I
Like
mean,
you say you don't want to simplify it, but it is that simple. It just starts
it
with
but
you.
people don't want to hear it. People don't
Yeah.
want to hear that part, and like me right now, I'm I'm whatever. I'm fine. I'm decently fit. It's not, I don't know if I'll ever be where I want to be. It's just like another one of my project cars. They're never really done. Just like myself is never really done. So,
It's a good way of looking
I
at
want to
it.
get to, I want to get to a point where I have a little, we always have that 5-10 pound swing, and I want to get to a point where I'm comfortable with both sides of it. And, and I like one side a little better than the other, maybe. But, you know, um, last year I was maybe I'm 6 foot. So I was maybe 237 last year. And now I'm down to like 203. And I feel good. I feel good. And it's been like last year I started running, which is like, I don't know where the hell that came out of, but that was
Never been a cardio guy. Always just lifted weights.
I mean, I'll do like elliptical and some stuff, pre-workout,
Yeah, yeah.
post-workout stuff, but I was always the lifter. And, I'm not like lifting heavy or anything like that, but I used to work out with, some very close friends of mine. And these guys were, they were good. I had one friend in particular that was, excellent, went through every single exercise and how to do the form, and all those uncomfortable positions and stuff, just drilled it into my head, and made that stuff work. And you're talking, that was close to 20 years ago. And I'll tell you right now that is a legitimate thing. When you learn a skill, it's just a skill, just like
Hmm.
anything else. When you learn that skill, you go back into the gym. And I've always worked out on and off, but I can go right into the gym right now, and I haven't been lifting. I've just been basically doing cardio for the last few months. I can go in and I can lift, and my form is, if it's not really close, it's almost perfect.
Yeah.
I don't mess around with my form. I don't lift heavy, and that helps. A lot of guys get that sense of needing to lift heavy, and then the form kind of suffers. And everybody wants different things.
Yeah.
And there's no, but for me, I know the form that I use, it serves a certain purpose.
Yeah.
And it's where it works. It doesn't hurt my body, and I can load a little extra weight when I need to. And then you can kind of, shorten up the form a little bit and change it a little bit. But it's something that, I think if people were out there learning these skills, when you get later on in life, if you had to start doing it again at more of aggressive level, like you are doing right now,
Hmm.
at least you're comfortable doing that stuff.
Yeah.
If you've never done it before, that's where the problem really lies, because it's not comfortable doing incline flies with 40-pound dumbbells if you've never done them before.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're tearing your shoulders apart.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable doing lunges and trying to keep your knees in the right position for lunges without overstressing them and stuff. It's not natural feelings. So if you're doing them just trying to watch a video and do them, and you don't have somebody there that knows what they're doing helping you, it's tough. So, I try to tell people all the time, learn, get in there and learn that stuff, because when you need it later on in life to use it, you don't have to do it all the time, but when you need to utilize it, you need to know what to do, at least the basics of, you should have the basics of nutrition down, and you should really have the basics of, physical activity and stuff like that.
That sounds like that's another sort of passion project of yours as well. If I could just
I
go
like
in,
it a lot.
if I could
I
just
like it
go
a
into
lot.
how we met,
Oh,
it's actually
yeah,
really
that's funny.
funny. You know,
Yeah, sure.
like two guys that didn't really use social media too much. We
Yeah, I've
met
never
on
I've never used it before this.
met on
This is
Instagram
funny.
through Lee Priest of all people.
Yeah, Lee
Have you always been
Priest.
a fan?
Oh yeah. Oh
Same.
yeah, sure. No, what's crazy? I'll put it this way. I've always been a fan of Lee Priest's look. I've
Gotcha.
always like the dude. I was never a bodybuilder type of guy. I just could never. I don't know what it was. I never had the and dedication. I guess that's basically
Genetics.
what.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I don't even know if it's genetics, because I never even tried. So
Okay. Gotcha.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe I could have, maybe, but I never tried at that level. You know what I'm saying? So my
Yeah.
dedication level was only to a certain point. It was like, it was like bro science point. Like,
Yep.
not a, you know,
Yep.
it wasn't like a aesthetic premier look. But seeing Lee Priest when I was younger, he's a touch older than me, right? So
Yep.
when I was younger and he was in the magazines and he was You know, he was the guy. I mean, best arms in bodybuilding. The guy was just like he's a specimen. I mean, the dude's amazing. You know, he really is. And you know, but looking at somebody in a magazine, right? You have no idea what type of person they really are.
Yeah.
So then like when I started this whole social media thing, like he started popping up, and I'm like, wow, that's Lee Priest. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's crazy. And I started seeing like his videos and stuff like that, and started following him. And I started laughing. I was like, listen, you know, listen, he has an edgy side, obviously. You know,
He's a character. He's pretty funny,
he's
I
a
find.
character. Like
Yeah.
the dude he's a good guy. You know,
Yeah.
to me, you know, I know he breaks a lot of chops and he ruffles some feathers, you know, for lack of a better word, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
he's that type of guy. Um, but at the same time, if you're paying attention, you see that he actually cares about the people that are around him
Yeah.
to a point where, listen, if you're gonna try to break the guy's balls a little bit, you know, you're gonna get it right back. I
Yeah.
mean, and I don't think that's out of the ordinary for any regular person. You know, any regular person that's willing to stand up for themselves and willing to make a point, especially if you're trying to twist something that they're saying around and trying to make him look like something that he's not.
Yeah.
You know, I know people have done that with me in my regular life. You know, oh, you know, you say one thing and then you do this and then you do that. I said, listen, that's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people
I get that.
try to twist things around on you all the time, and now with all this social media engagement that you have with people, I mean, it's very easy to just rewind life a little while and see how it actually played out and see what actually happened with people. And you know, the proof is there. You know, I mean, it's you know, all that stuff it's there. There's no sense in trying to make stuff up and trying to turn things into something they're not, because
Yeah.
eventually, I mean, it's all right there for everybody to see. You
Yeah.
know, it really is. So yeah, it was funny. So I contacted him, and you know, just a you know, out of kind of a fluke thing, I was like, because this guy is kind of, I'm not going to say I idolized the guy, but I'm a fan of his
Yep.
and a fan of his for many years. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, I was like, I'd love to send you like some of what you're inspiring to do, because it's people like him, you know, that help entrepreneurs and small business people be their own person, you know. So he gladly accepted the gift, and I sent him a T-shirt and some bottles and some stickers. I think they broke one bottle in the mail, but you know, he got the gist of it. I think he got a couple bottles out of the deal, and you know, it was great. He shared it on his page. I was like super excited, man. Like, you know, it's you know, a great guy, and I just thought it was such a nice, honest thing for him to actually shout us out and everything like that. Like, what a cool feeling that
Yeah.
was. You know,
And he
such a
he
weird.
didn't have to. Like, he could have been
No,
like,
no, not at all.
but he
Not at
did.
all. Not at
Yeah.
all. Not
Just
at
a
all.
cool guy. I'm
Yeah.
very surprised and very impressed by his character. Not at all what I thought a celebrity would be like.
No, not at
Right?
no.
Or
I
like, or
mean,
even like a bodybuilding celebrity.
yeah, you
Right?
know what? I don't know what to expect out of people anymore, because I don't know what people are really, you know, it's hard to gauge what people really are like outside of social media versus what they are. Because I've reached out to some people that are, I'm not going to stack people at levels,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've reached out to some people, and these are just some regular Instagram people, you know,
Hmm.
people that are on Instagram, and I just appreciate their work. You know, they're individuals. They don't work for companies. They're not like, you know, but they're trying. They're trying to either become, you know, they're trying to craft their field, whether it's personal training or they're wanting to be a IFBB pro bodybuilders and stuff like that. So as like me as somebody that appreciates their content and appreciates their work and some
Same.
of their stuff, it touches me and it helps me have a drive. So what am I going to offer somebody? So I have this. So
Yeah.
that's what I do. I reach out to him and I'm like, listen, it's not for anything. I'm not trying to get Insta famous. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm just trying to show my appreciation. And I think it's better that I show them that they're helping me develop something and helping the community develop something. And I think that gets to people a little more than just being like, hey, I want to buy a t-shirt, or, you know, and buying a t-shirt from somebody is great, you know, if they have that stuff. But a lot of these people, they don't even have that. Like they don't
Yeah.
have, you know what they're doing it for? They want you to like and comment on their posts, which is, listen, that takes 2 seconds to do, and that's a wonderful thing, and I have no problem doing that and supporting people by doing that stuff. But at the same time, I want to really show, like, listen, I'll send you a t-shirt and some bottles and make your meal prep a little more fun and make that chicken and rice a little better. Have some fun and just show people that I really do care, and their content is getting to somebody at least. I'm sure it's getting to a lot of people, but at least they know somebody it's really getting to. So,
How did the name Angry Duck come about?
oh,
If you
so
don't mind me
angry.
switching gears a little bit.
Listen. I love it. It's great. So Angry Duck is we were kicking around ideas a lot, and we were trying to. My wife is she's first generation. She's her family's from Ecuador, so
Cool.
she's fluent in Spanish. So we were coming up with some Spanish names, and we were coming up with some different stuff, and because it's kind of a tropical vibe to it, and all this stuff. And I was like, and we were at a party, and somebody said, "What is that? Duck sauce?" I was like, "Hmm." I said, "Well, it does kind of look like duck sauce. It has that amber color. It doesn't use
Okay.
anything that duck sauce uses in it. It has that amber color, and it kind of has that consistency, that suspension consistency, where nothing's like fluidly floating around. It's like everything's kind of suspended in the bottle, which is a cool look for the product."
Yeah.
Um, so a typical term in culinary is to explain something. If you're reading a menu, if you're looking at something that's spicy, or looking at a dish, it'll say like angry lobster, or like an angry fillet of sole, or whatever, and that typically means that it has like a crushed red pepper flake in it, or something of that nature, to give somebody the idea that it's angry, it's a little spicy, it's a little fun. It's you're about to order something that's going to be a little bit more on your palate than just a regular dish. So I was like, "Hey, what about Angry Duck?" And we were talking about it, and she's like, "I kind of like it." I was like, "Yeah, me too." I said, "It's fun." I said, "It sounds fun." So I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, nobody's using that name," and whatever. So my brother's a graphic designer, and
Nice.
yeah, he's the guy. That guy's like, enormously talented guy. Especially with some freehand work and stuff, which he doesn't really get to do a lot anymore. Now he's mostly digital stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I had him. This was November of 19, I guess. So Thanksgiving, he was visiting. He lives down in Atlanta, so he was visiting, and I had asked him. I said, "Listen," I said, "You mind just popping out a couple pictures?" I said, "This is what I'm thinking. Something that kind of looks like this." I showed him some stuff that was online. I said, "Listen, this is something that kind of looks like this, but put your own spin on it." And I wanted to be a little aggressive and a little smirky, um, and he drew me like 8 pictures in 5 minutes, and he was like, "Yeah, I got these." And he kind of showed them to everybody, and I was like, "Well, we were in between a bunch of them, and I had everybody kind of like, we had the whole house full because it was Thanksgiving, so I had everybody kind of pick our favorites, and the kids and everybody was picking their favorites and stuff. So it came down to like this and another one, and I made the ultimate decision to use this guy, because he's such a cool look.
Yeah.
I love his face, and I love his character, and we have a couple other things coming out in the future, and it's going to be a play on this character. It's going to be a little bit different for the other flavors we have coming up, and we have some fun stuff happening with Angry Duck. So it's going to be.
I noticed you got some new flavors coming up on the website.
Yeah,
It,
I've been right now we have a manufacturer. They've been really good with us. Especially a startup brand. They've been good with us, kind of showing us the ropes and helping me learn, because
cool.
I'm not really a tech person. So for me to be organized with tech stuff and measurements and all that stuff, um, trying to keep all that stuff at a high level, because I want this product to be at a certain level at all times. I want the labeling to be at a certain level. I want the product ingredients to be at a certain level. I want it to be a premium style condiment, and I don't want to really falter on any of that stuff. So I want the packaging to be correct. I want the bottles to be correct, and I'm pretty meticulous in that type of stuff. So the manufacturer that we've been working with, as much of a pain in the ass I'm sure I am, they've been working through it with me, and they're we're getting to the point now where the other flavors and stuff, they're going to be coming around. Hopefully, before the end of the year, is what we're
Nice.
looking at. We're going to have I would like to do an event and do a whole thing. I mean, it's just such a great thing. I would love to do something that would just do a full release of Angry Duck, and have a great time. So I'm getting some more clothing stuff ready and some swag, and you
Wow.
know, yeah, I have. I have a lot going on in my head. Like there's going to be some good stuff.
You're
You know,
just
we're gonna.
it sounds like you're a melting pot of ideas.
Yeah.
Do it. That's exactly how I am. Exactly how I
Yeah,
am. Oh yeah.
it's all in there. I don't know where it's coming from, but
I
it's all got to come out. So I'm just letting it all go, and and eventually, like I said, I honestly feel I have faith in the product itself. I have faith in myself
yeah.
to be able to keep up with the pace that I bring to it. Is if it starts getting a little out of hand to a point where that I can't handle, then we'll start looking into, you know, possibly angel investors or people that have, better guidance, than basically me shooting from the hip and trying to just keep up with it, because I feel like eventually, it's going to be a real thing. It's a real thing already, and it's a real thing for a lot of people because I have a lot of repeat customers and I have a lot of people reaching out to me all the time, and and it's more than just the condiment. It's really just being in touch with everybody, being in touch with all the customers, and just hearing and seeing what they're doing with the product,
Mhm.
with the social media and stuff like that. It's such an exciting thing to see that these people are utilizing it, and they love that it's all natural. It's 10 ingredients. It's a good healthy product
Yeah, it
that,
is.
yes, it has carbohydrates in it. It's not keto. It's not a perfect product for some people on certain diets, and I understand that, and I'm not marketing it like that. But what I am marketing it as, it is an all natural product. It's a well-rounded product. It's a good flavor profile. It's a lot of fun, and it's something that we want to share with people. I've had plenty of people that in the beginning, we now have our website is up, angryduckrevolution.com.
Mhm.
So it's up and it's running and it's doing fine. Everybody's ordering through that, which is great.
Looks
But
great.
in the yeah, which is fun.
Yeah,
It's
man.
it's another fun thing. So, but before that, like, people were reaching out to me on Instagram because it was like every step of the way. If you look at the beginning of my Instagram till now, it's like you saw you saw it in plastic bottles with the little stickers on it. And I had people reaching out to me then, like, how do I buy it? How do I get it? How do I do this? How do I do that? So I have people from the beginning of last year that were reaching out, and now all of a sudden they've seen the development from the plastic bottles to the new stickers to the t-shirts, to the hats, to everything. Like, they've seen this every step of the way. And then we finally got real labeling with the nutritional panel and all this stuff. And I was able to start selling it. Like, I was just giving it to people, because I said, like, listen, I can't sell it to you. I said, it's not even, I don't know if it was even legal to sell. I said, so I just give it to you. I said, you're a friend of mine. I said, I can give stuff to my friends. I'm like, so I was just giving it to people. And then people like reaching out to me. They're like, you're losing your mind, dude. You can't just keep giving your products away. I'm like, yeah, I can. I'm like, why not? So once we got a manufacturer and we got the real labels and everything was like, the FDA certifications and everything were 100% and all that stuff like that. And I was like, okay, now I can start charging people, I guess.
Yeah, once you start
like,
putting a little bit of money into it, now maybe it's time to start getting a little bit back. I got
yeah,
you.
it was, but it was just, but it, within the same respect, even after that, we had people reach out to us, and it's a brand new product, and it's something that it's hard for me to compare it to other stuff that's on the shelf. I would happily say, listen, it's just like this, except it's like this. And we had people reach out to us and they're like, listen, man, I just can't afford, that kind of money for a condiment that I don't even know if I'm going to like. I'm like, well, just send me your address. And they were kind of confused at that point. And I said, listen, I said, I send you 2 bottles.
Yeah.
I said, if you like it, great, pay me the money. If you don't like it, that's okay too. I understand, but give the second bottle to somebody that you believe would like it. And you don't pay me anything. It's fine. Yeah. And people were like losing it. They were like, you can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean I can't do that? And they said, yeah, but that's not, like, how are you doing that? I said, I made the product. I own the product. It's my product. I said, I'll give it to whoever I want. I said, if you want to pay me, pay me. And Lysander, more often than not, before it was even in the mail, people are Venmoing me money and paying for the product and whatever. And it was just like we started building that little bit of a reputation where it was just like, listen, I just want you to have it. I just want you to have it, and I'm going to try to get it to you, get it to anybody I can. And
You're building those
people reach out
relationships
to me if
too.
they, what's that?
You're building those relationships too.
Yeah,
I bet all those people actually legitimately want to help you,
sure. Yeah,
right? Like
sure. And
what can I do to spread the word about Angry Duck, right? I mean,
that's it.
doing this, I'm trying to do my part because I love the product. You're an
Yeah.
awesome guy, right?
Oh,
We've had a couple
thank you.
talks over the phone.
Yeah, sure.
We message
Sure.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Man, good things happen to good people,
Yeah, we're
right?
working on it. We're
Yeah,
certainly
man.
working on it. It's
Yeah.
it's good. And I my wife tries to explain to me because again, this is my first real dip into the social media pool,
Hmm.
and she, as positive as things have been, she tries to explain to me. She's like, listen, she's like, she's well versed in social media, and she's like, the negativity will come. She says it will. She says but it's something that, me as an individual, I'm going to have to figure out how to get past that stuff or not pay attention to it, or whatever tricks there are. I'm sure there are tricks to avoid that type of stuff. Um, and listen, I mean, we've had a touch of it here and there with certain pictures I've put up, and they're tagging people like that resemble those pictures and what they've done and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, I understand what you're doing there. Like, you're trying to create something that's really not going on. I mean, this is all us. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not, we're not looking to go ride anybody's coattails. I'm not looking to attach myself to anybody else. I'm not looking for any of that stuff. This is all us. And really it's something that because of that, I feel like it's gonna go the right direction, and it's gonna go in a positive direction. And I feel like if you align yourself with positive people, people like yourself, and then,
Thank you.
um, I have a huge group of people on social media that, the supplement company that I believe in. I follow them, and they have, multiple platforms that they utilize, and their message really is very similar to mine. And it's something that, that group of people has been so positive towards me and us, that it's just seeing these like-minded people out there. And then it's expanded again to people like you, and then now the food industry people, because I really was kind of focusing on the meal planning people, and the people that are into fitness and all that stuff. And now we're kind of shifting gears, and we're moving towards the actual direction for the brand, which is getting into aligning ourselves with other food products and what we're compatible with, and what we're thinking about developing over the next couple of years. And it's pretty wild to start seeing the reaction of those people, and all these, I'm starting to realize how many homemade hot sauce brands and condiment brands, and these people that are out there been developing this stuff for so long. And it's exciting. It's really exciting to see the way people are doing this, and starting to get invited out to, they're reaching out to us for, not competitions, but like exposés and stuff, when that stuff starts coming around, and just putting booths together, or possibly even being vendors at like bodybuilding shows and stuff like that,
Cool.
stuff like that, like being invited to that stuff, and being I'm gonna say we're small batch. We're small batch. Like, this is a small company. This is just us. And
At what point did you know you were an entrepreneur, though? Like what?
I honestly don't know, because I listen to a lot of stuff for entrepreneurs now, and I started reading and listening to a lot of audiobooks. And um you know I I don't know. I guess it was when I made it real, when I got the bank account, when I filed for, I went through LegalZoom and got a corporation. I have a full corporation under my name, and it's crazy, like, what you can do as an individual. And I really wish they would have taught us this stuff in school. Like, why? I don't know why they don't teach you this stuff when you're getting your education, that you as an individual can be a business owner. You can have an idea, and that could be enough to have a business,
Yeah.
and really you can open the business and then develop the idea into the business. You just need that little bit of a seed, and you need that little bit of a thought, and eventually, it just starts to snowball, and it just starts to make sense. And if you get good people around you, I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my family, right? So there's a lot of people that I've watched work for themselves, between my uncles and my cousins, and I've always been a 9 to 5 guy. I've always worked for somebody. I've always got a nice, good, steady income, medical benefits, and all that other stuff. So I was never, it never kind of dawned on me that there was another side to it. And then meanwhile, like as I'm getting older, all my family members, they start making, because it's like, it's being an entrepreneur, if it goes the right way, those finances compound, and they keep growing exponentially. So now I have a couple, some family members and some friends even that own small businesses. And now at this stage, they've been doing it for 20 years, 25 years, whatever it is. Listen, they on a Thursday, they just stop working. They have their guys run out the Friday, the Thursday afternoon and the Friday. And these guys are off like in the summertime. They're at the beach and like hanging out on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And here I am like it's my busy time. Like, well, the whole time where it's really a nice time to be off, that's when I'm the most busy, because that's when we can do more work in heavy construction. So I'm working Friday nights, Saturday nights, whatever. So I'm missing out on so much stuff. And I was like, man, that's they have a lot different types of pressure, with being entrepreneurs and all that stuff. So I started looking at that, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I said, I wish I would have, maybe been able to, at least have something like that. And that's probably what planted the seed years and years ago. And you start seeing more and more of that stuff, and more and more of that stuff, the more, the older you get. And then with this, it was just like, I don't listen, if this provides me with anything, it's going to be a learning experience. For it to get to a level, because people ask me all the time, when are you going to your job? I'm like, listen, I don't, I would have no idea how to even answer that, because it's, it's like what we were talking about before. Are you making any money off of it? Are you doing this? Are you doing, it's not at this point, that's not even something that's something you can
Like
see.
it's a business, but at the same time you want to keep it a hobby, right? That
I want to
way
keep I want to keep it to where it's enjoyable
keep it
for
fun.
me.
Yep.
Keep it fun,
Yep.
because I feel like even if we were to crest the first hill and we start making money and we start doing all that stuff, I'm not a business person. I never took a business class.
Yep.
I never went to business
Yep.
school. I don't
Neither
have
am
a
I.
business degree. So I'm assuming it works in phases, right? In the first phase, you're using your own money to keep the business going, right? Or you take a loan, or you get money from somebody, or whatever it is, whatever it is. You start off with loaned money, whether it's from yourself or from family members or the bank or whatever. Then the next phase is the business is actually kind of maintaining itself with a little bit of growth, right? Possibly with a little reinvestment capital and stuff like that. And it starts to maintain itself if it's growing in the right direction. And then the third phase is where the business is actually a profitable business, where it's actually making money that you can take and put it in your pocket. And when we get to that point, then I'll make that judgment call. It's, it would have to take a lot of condiments for me to quit my day job. It would have to be a lot, and I'm here to see it through. And I certainly hope it goes in that direction. That would be a great part of the story, right? Like
Yeah, man.
that would be the thing, and if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whatever it is, if it shortens, if it elongates the time I have with my kids and my wife, and it shortens the amount of time I'm away from them, that's what I'm looking for.
Did
If it gives me something to where I can take more vacation with
yeah.
my family,
Yeah.
maybe not ever quit my job, but if it gives me time where I can take a couple extra weeks off a year, or a month off a year, and we can travel, or we can do
Nice.
things with the kids, and stuff like that. If it gets me to that point, man, that's a home run.
Did
That's a home run.
did having
Because
kids play a little bit of a
huge,
role or a big role?
huge,
Yeah, me
huge,
too.
huge.
Me
Yeah,
too.
it's huge. It's tremendous. You know, it's the one thing that I will tell you honestly that people will give you advice on that is actually as close to correct as possible. Um, when you have kids, something changes.
Yeah.
I, I will tell you hands down, I have heard that statement a million times, whether it was having a steady girlfriend, buying a house, getting a career, buying a new car with payments on it. You just got a girlfriend? You're fucked.
Yeah.
Can't do
Right.
anything anymore.
Yeah.
Can't do
Yeah.
anything. You just bought a house? Are you fucking stupid? What's wrong with you? Why
Now
would you
you're
buy a
now
house?
you're tied
You're
down. Now you have to
you're
stay
locked
there.
down.
Yeah.
You can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
You're getting married. Are you out of your fucking mind? You're getting married. But you hear this stuff all the time, right? And
Yeah.
and it's like, but with kids, I will tell you right now, unless you have kids, you do not know what it's like to have kids. You could have as many nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles.
Yeah.
You could have whatever you want until you have your own kids. It's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. And I had them a little later, right? My kids, I'm 40, and my kids are 5 and 3.
Sure.
So I had them a little later in life. I'm okay. I'm perfectly happy with that. So it's for me, I have maybe a different, I obviously a different perspective than if I was 25 or 26 having kids. That's a totally different thing.
Totally
Uh,
different ball game. I've lived it.
Totally different. Yeah, exactly. So it totally different thing. So I'm speaking from my experience.
Yeah.
From my experience, my kids have made all the difference in the world for me. And as much love as I have for my wife and my family members and your parents and all that other stuff, there is nothing like the amount of love that you have for your kids. Nothing. There's
Yeah.
nothing. And when my oldest daughter, the day she was born, it was a life changing experience for me. And kids typically when they come out, they're all whiny and crying and whatever, and they don't open their eyes, and it's too bright, and the fresh air and all that nonsense. Well, my daughter was not that person. She was fairly quiet when she came out, and when I said her name, she opened her eyes bright as day and looked dead in my eyes, and I knew from that moment I was like,
Oh.
yeah. I was like, I'm all done. I was like, I'm broke. I was like, this is it for me.
Yep.
This is honest to true. Like that was the life changing moment for me. And I've had a lot of crazy stuff happen in my life, and having her, she was my first, and just having her was just it was breathtaking. It was absolutely breathtaking, and it was like I looked around the room. My brain goes in crazy ways. I looked around the room and I was like, I would murder everybody in this hospital to get this kid out of this hospital. I was like, there's not a person in this world, I said, that's going to stop me from walking away with this kid. I said, this is my baby. I was like, but it was such a like, oh my God, it's such a feeling that you have. And why, Mama Bear goes after a hunter, and you have all that stuff that it's just that natural feeling of protection and wanting to take care of your family and wanting to take care of the kids. And then when I had my second daughter, it was like, man, it was the exact same thing happened again. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I could see why people have 10 kids. I could see that, you want that feeling all the time. You want to feel like you're that protector all the time. And, now at this age of my kids, I feel like a superhero. I'm like the best thing since sliced bread. I come home, it's like a friggin', it's like a Tinker Tape parade every day. It's
Isn't this
crazy.
such a good feeling?
Such a good thing. I feel like if I'm ever blessed with being able to quit my job, I might just have to leave every day and come back to see if I get that same feeling all the time.
Just leave the house, go do a little shopping, come home.
Just leave. No, I gotta go. I leave for 8 hours and come back. And, hey,
Absolutely.
But
little bit different for me. I mean, I got two girls too. I had them about mine are 11 and 7.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My son is 23. So I had we're like 20 years apart just about to the day. And having him in my 20s, man, I was in full party mode. I was a male stripper at the time.
Oh boy.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was like so I get a gig on a Saturday night and it's like, my son's out. Okay, I'll just do the gig and then I'll come home, right? So I get somebody to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, completely different story now, especially with girls, right? Like with daughters, I just want to protect them, and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a, the kids are amazing, man. They're amazing, and listen, if you have kids, you don't have kids, there's no right way.
Yeah.
You could have one, you could have none, you could have 10, you could have whatever. There's no correct way. It's whatever works out for you in your life. But
It's like being an entrepreneur, you're sort of learning as you go.
you definitely learn as you go. And you know
Right.
what, you know what one of the biggest things it gives you is a perspective on your own parents and what they dealt with.
Hmm.
And because that passion, that love for your child it's a pretty, unless you're talking about the extremes or whatever it might be. I would say that's a pretty common theme for every single parent, right? Like that is the one thing. Like, you touch my kids and it's game
Yeah.
over.
You're done.
That's it. So there's like that feeling. I kind of like, after I had my first, I went to work, and I was like, I felt this pit in my stomach. Like, I was just didn't even want to leave the house. I didn't even want to leave the house. I didn't want to leave my wife with the baby alone, and everything. Like, I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay and everybody
Yeah.
was taken care of. I go to work and I'm talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. I just had the baby and this and that." He's like, "Yeah." He says, "That like nervous, shitty feeling you have?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's called being a parent." He's like, "Get used to it." He's like, "Because it doesn't go away." He's like, "Ever." He's like, "So," he says, "My kids are 15 and 16." He says, "Every time I'm away from my kids," he says, "that's how I feel."
Hmm.
He says, "That just means that you're there." He says, "You're there." He's like, "And that's something that you need to respond to, and make it something that's apparent in your life. You have to make it something that's the most prevalent portion of your life. Every decision you make, um, you have to have them involved."
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, with Angry Duck stuff and all this, it's been a big deal, and they're another huge driving force for this. I
Same.
don't think I would, I don't, if I didn't have kids, I probably would just go with the status quo and live our lives, and it is what it is. I
Yeah.
have a good career, and I have a great thing going on with my wife, and we're having a nice time. um
Dude, it gets even better. It gets more fun.
That's what, and that's you hear that stuff about 10% of the time versus the negative stuff. Like,
Really?
yeah,
Eh.
man, you got to realize, like, that the people that that I'm around, and, you're in the Northeast, and there's like rough and tumble guys that, there's a lot of guys I work with. They don't even like going home at the end of the day. Like,
Oh
they're
yeah.
like, their best time is at work. And, they're crying about their old lady and this and that. And it's like, hey, man, listen, I don't know what you're doing, because I like going home. I like going home. I like seeing my house. I like seeing what I work for. I like seeing my family. I like
Yeah.
seeing my wife. I like cooking dinner. I like working on my cars. I like, developing the business stuff. I like putting a few hours into everything every day, and, trying to keep everything going. That's part of it. And, like a lot of these guys, they're like, the kids, they're going to start going to school, and then you got to deal with all those parents and this and that. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I said, none of that stuff is, so far, knock on wood, none of it's bothered me. None of it's bothered me. It's been good. So far so good.
Yeah, man.
So
It
yeah,
gets
I'm
better.
excited for.
It's it's
Yeah, I'm
it's
listen.
it's
The
awesome.
communication with the kids is getting better, because now they're able to communicate both ways.
Yep.
So um, kids, once they can speak, it provides a certain amount of fun right there, and it kind of decompresses the stress level a little bit, because kids get aggravated, man. Like, they can communicate from the time that they're, you know whatever, one, less than one. I mean, you're talking months old. Like, they're firing off, and they want to chit chat, they want to hang out, and they want to do all that stuff. And then they get to a certain point, like around, let's say, 2, where
Yep.
they start talking, and it's just not enough. Like, their brain is going at 100 miles an hour, and they got like 4 words they can use,
Yep.
so they get frustrated and they get pissed, and whatever. So now, my little one is like, let's say 3.5 or whatever she is right now, 3 in a few months. She's stringing sentences together, and she's able to speak, and it's like her aggression level has taken a step back. It's still there. She still gets aggravated and frustrated, just like anybody does when they can't communicate. But at the same time, now she paces herself, and she talks, and so all that stuff, like you said, it's getting better. That communication gap is shortening, and everything is getting a little bit better, and like the 5-year-old, man, I feel like she should get a job soon. Like that kid is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. There's nothing.
A little while ago, my son Dylan sent me a text at 3 in the morning
Oh wow.
because he was having girl problems.
Oh
That made me feel like a cool dad. That's when I
yeah,
knew I was, well, I always knew I was a cool dad, but
yeah,
that really was like, wow, in my mind I thought, wow, he really sees me like
yeah,
not only his
yeah.
dad, like because I knew I had him at a younger age, I always
Hmm.
took it upon myself to be one his dad, his big brother, and his friend.
Sure.
And when that happened, I was like, wow, he really does see me as a friend,
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
right? And
that's amazing.
that really touched me.
Nah, that's
With two daughters,
all
sorry,
all I try to do is
with two daughters in the house, is it a little bit of a gong show in your house?
yeah, it's a little nutty.
Yeah, mine too.
A
Mine
little
too.
nutty.
It's
A
amazing
little-
though.
It's crazy. It's crazy. They're a lot of fun. They're an absolute blast. And at some point, that all they want to do is play, right?
Yeah.
All they want to do is play and have fun. And I try to involve them with this stuff, like, all the time with packing up the packages and sending them out to people and cutting up the stickers and, I'm trying to get them involved in all this stuff, even down to like showing them how the website's working. And, people are like, most people think that I'm crazy because, you have these little toddlers and whatever, but I'll tell you what, they are sharp as a tack, and they're going to learn this stuff. Telling you, by the time they're 7 and 8, I'm probably not even going to be doing this anymore. It's probably going to be all them. They're loving the social media stuff. They're loving seeing people interact with us. They love all of it, and they love seeing Angry Duck like in somebody else's hands. And like I said, when we started having people, like, there's some influencers out there, and these people are holding the bottles, and guys like Lee Priest, and you have a guy like another bodybuilder, Seth Feroce, these guys have their hands on a product that I made. That it's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me.
It's
And
surreal. It literally went from your hand to
oh,
their hand,
it's nuts. It's
right? Yeah.
absolutely nuts. And it's such a beautiful thing that I feel like people can do this. You're not gonna, I'm not gonna say you're not, because listen, there's always a possibility, right? But what I'm saying is, you can't expect it to take over your life financially and be something, that's just a financial windfall because you created something and it's just going to work, and people are going to, be throwing rose petals at your feet. Obviously life doesn't work like that. But, if you take all these little wins and you stack them up to big memories, and it turns into something, it turns into something for you as an individual. It doesn't have to be something for everybody
Yeah.
in the world to see. It just has to be something for you.
Yeah.
And so far, that's what it's been, and listen, every time I get a bottle out there, every time we get an order, it's like ecstatic in this house. I'm packing it up, and I'm, getting it ready. And it's like, it's just such a fun thing for the whole house to get involved in. And, as we grow, like I joke around with my wife. I'm going to miss this, when we have people, excuse me, we have, warehouse full of people and trucks going down the road and all the Angry Duck. I'm going to miss when we were packing bottles in the kitchen and,
Yeah.
and sending this stuff out to people and whatever. And what's funny is, like, I do joke around about it, but at the same time, I have all intention of making that my reality. I want to let that part go into somebody else's hand. Just like for 10 years before there was a business, we were chopping peppers and cutting pineapples and adding the sugar and doing this and doing that and making it ourselves and putting it in jars and getting it out to our friends and family and doing all that stuff and screwing it up and making it better and refining the recipe. We were doing all that stuff until, when we refined the recipes and we did all that stuff, and we were still making it at home and still getting it out to coworkers and friends and family and all that other stuff, until now, when we have a manufacturer and branding and marketing and label people and t-shirt design people and embroidery people. And, I have all these people now, like that just, I make phone calls and, hey, listen, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing that. And they're just keeping up, and it's like, and I'm trying to keep up with them, and we're just trying to, make this happen together.
It sounds like it's working all very well together, though,
And,
right? Like, and
it's doing something.
you're doing everything in steps. Like, you're
Yeah.
not just saying, You're not throwing a pile of money at it and saying,
No,
"Here you
no,
go."
you can't. No, you can't. You can't. I don't think. I mean, me personally, I don't have. I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind if I just put all the money into it, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Like
Yep. Yep.
it would just, or because the first when I opened up the bank account, right, the first thing they want to do, do you want any money? I'm like, no, I don't want any money. They're
The
like,
bank did that?
why don't? Yeah, they're like, why don't you want any money? You want a loan? You want to get a credit card? You want to get this? You want to get that? I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, what are you? I'm like, what are you basing this off of? I'm
You
like, I don't,
are the anomaly, my man, because most
dude.
people, I know me, I've been like, I might take the money, I'd probably take the credit card, and I'd probably get myself in a lot of shit,
Oh
but
man, no way, no way. I don't want the money.
smart.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, if I don't have anything to do, if I had a contract with a large grocery store or a distributor or something that wanted so much product and so much amount of time and whatever, then listen, I had a place for 100 grand to go and it was going someplace to make me money. No problem. I can knock on the bank store anytime I want. You might have to wait a couple weeks or whatever it is, go through the process. But listen, if that guy can't wait, a little bit of time for you to get your stuff together, then maybe it's not the right deal anyway. That's a whole nother aspect of it. But
Wow.
until I have a direction for this to go, it's going to go at this pace, and that's the only way it can go. Because if you I'm comfortable with the amount of time and effort I'm putting into it right now, and if it started snowballing to a point where I wasn't comfortable, then it's bound to fail. It's bound to fail. I can't just reach out and tap somebody and say, listen, I need a manager for a condiment business, and somebody that's going to basically run my business for me, because I have to go to work every day and make money for my family and keep my medical and keep my benefits and do all that other, so at this level right now where we are, and probably for the foreseeable future, we'll be able to manage it. And listen, if we get to a point where it starts growing at a pace that I can't control, again, that's where I will look for help, and I will take my time, and I'll find the right people to work with us.
Yeah.
And at that point, they'll have certain aspects to their character that will help me express all the other character aspects that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that can concentrate on the finances and distribution and making those connections with stores and all those other people. It's fine, and I can stay developing different parts of the brand and the product and all the other stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
I have no problem talking to grocery stores and talking to all these people and distributors and stuff. It's the issue that I'm having is, one, I'm not a business guy. I'm not a sales guy. So I don't, I'm going to work on all that shtick, which is fine. But at the same time, like, I've been reaching out to some of these places, and it's not easy.
But
They
that's
don't.
that's where it starts.
Yeah, I know. And
Right.
it's just weird for me because I don't try to be a high pressure person.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like, hey, I just want to meet you. I
Yeah.
want to give you some angry duck, and maybe we could hang out and see if you like the product, if it fits your store profile. Because I'm going for more of a, natural food stores, people that have a little higher end products and stuff like that. That
Smart.
people are willing to spend a little extra money on products that are all natural and better branding and stuff of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So. But to like some of these people, like I've called these places like half a dozen times. They're like, oh, the manager's in a meeting. Oh, the manager's not here. I'm like, well, I'd like to be the fucking manager because apparently you don't have to work. I'm like, Jesus, I'm like, fucker's never there. So,
Must be
but
nice.
again, it's part of the process. So, like, I try to stay like, happy-go-lucky about it, but it does get aggravating, and I'm not somebody that really holds back very often. So I try to be easygoing, and I try to do all that stuff, and I try to put like that business sales hat on where you got to be that accommodating guy.
Yeah.
Oh, no big deal, just have him call me back. All that other fluffy bullshit. But to me, it's just not. It's not totally my nature to be that guy all the time. Like, I love being that guy when I can.
Yeah.
But if you aggravate me, I'm a different type of person, and I just usually just fuck them, and I just move on. Like, I don't need them. They need me. They're the ones that need new products. Like, you know, I don't, there's millions of places to sell products, you know, so I don't really worry about it that often. But at the same time, I have to approach it with a little bit of humility, and I have to understand, you know, that this is part of the deal, and I get it. And
It's tough.
yeah,
This is
I
a new
mean,
shtick for you, man.
totally new thing. Yeah,
Right?
I never
Yeah.
really had to sell myself to make things happen.
Right.
And you know, it'll be fine. You know, I'm not really worried about it that much. You know, once I get it down and kind of, you know, I feel like once we get a little more brand awareness and where they can start seeing it on their own. And when you mention the name, it's not like, oh, what is it? It's like, oh, I just saw something about that, or I
Yeah.
just heard about that, or whatever it is. So once we develop that stuff, and we are, you know, we are, because there's people, the random people reaching out to me saying, hey man, I saw so and so using this product, and I'd love to try it. And I'm like, all right, great. Here you go. You
Any
know, and it's
plans
that
to
easy.
do like a Shark Tank or anything?
Uh,
Thought
yeah.
about it?
So we, yeah, sure. It's part of the dream, right? You know, so that's along the lines of, you know, if we get to that point where we start having consistent sales, and we start having, um, you know, we start realizing what the numbers look like, right? Like there's only a certain, you know, there's certain ways when you're selling a product to make money, that I'm aware of, and that's making money, obviously at the point of sale, and then there's making money through wholesale, and then there's making money on the back end stuff, which is production stuff, shipping charges, all that stuff that you have. Like right now, we are at what should be our most expensive cost option right now. Like this should be the highest, most expensive portion of this business right now, because we are a smaller batch. We're dealing with, you know, basic shipping. We're not getting any real shipping benefits.
Mm-hmm.
We're, you know, doing everything ourselves. So we're not charging any, like we're not paying any employees or anything like that. So, you know, this is as basic as it can get right here, right now. And what we have to do is we have to hone all the back end stuff to start increasing profit margin and all that stuff. So that means making more on the next batch and doing more labels, so the cost is less. And,
Yeah.
you know, hopefully getting shipping is, oh, shipping is difficult. Shipping is a very difficult thing. So hopefully we can get into a good shipping program and start really getting this stuff out to people, at a decent cost, you know, because that's the tough one. You know, that's the tough one that always rises, and it's always changing. And you can kind of like adjust for produce costs and loss and all that other stuff that's kind of consistent. Um, you know, it's the shipping stuff is a tough one. So that's why I'd really like to get out to distributors, like local distributors. And, you know, that's where getting into storefronts helps. You know, getting into storefronts helps. And if we could get on some store shelves this year, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. I want to set little goals every year. So the goal this year is to get on some store shelves, whether it's locally, regionally, whatever. You know, that's the idea. And you know, my idea personally is to allow the stores to sell it at a certain price point that makes sense for them, with buying it wholesale for me and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. And you know, a lot of questions came up with, well, you know, you're selling it for a certain price on the website versus what the stores are going to be possibly selling it for. You know, with the website, listen, there's going to be obviously certain discount codes and all that stuff
Yeah.
that you can utilize that are going to get the prices down. Plus, you know, all our swag items and support items and all that stuff for the product are going to be there. And then, you know, like I was talking about doing the car giveaway, and we're going to be doing certain, you know, product giveaways and care packages and donations to different, you know, humane societies or
Yeah.
local police departments, or all that stuff is going to be done through the website. So any purchasing done through the website is going to be in support of all that stuff, or entries into all those giveaways and stuff, which you wouldn't normally get if you just went to, you know, point of sale stores and stuff like that. So, you know, there's going to be both ends. You know, there's going to be certain people that don't mind buying it on the website because they're going to get entered in to possibly win a car or whatever, t-shirts or whatever. And then there's going to be people that want to save a few bucks and maybe just go to the store and just get it because they need it right away, and whatever. And that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
all of it's fine. You know, I don't care. You know,
Yeah.
just put it on the table. Just use it. You
Yep.
eat it. Make
Just
something
try
with
it.
it. You know,
Just try it.
just try it.
Just try it.
Just try it, man.
Are,
Just try it.
are you
That's
wanting?
it.
Are you in any stores right now?
No, so we not currently. We are talking to a couple different stores. We're, like I said, we're talking to a couple different stores. I have a couple of ideas. I you know, swinging for the fences. I applied for Whole Foods. You know, that's a swinging for the fences type of move. You know, that's
Do
not like.
so I've never gone through that. Do you mind me asking what that's like? Like Whole Foods it's huge, right? We
you
don't have a
know,
Whole Foods up here, but from what
so
I
Whole Foods is
understand, it's
great.
huge.
It's owned by Amazon, so yeah, it's
Okay.
tremendous, right? So but they're a nice. I love Whole Foods. I like a lot of the higher brand and more natural grocery stores, right? Like they have. I feel like their produce is cleaner, it's better, it's good quality stuff. So again, it's all part of aligning yourself with higher caliber people, and to expect to be respected as a higher caliber product, right? So if you're gonna if you're gonna go for a lower cost brand item, then you can pretty much go wherever you want, and it doesn't really matter because you're going to be able to get it out there for cheaper money, and you're going to be able to do all that stuff. With this product, it's not a feasible thing. It's not a feasible thing because the produce and everything costs money. Everything is real. It's the product costs money to make. It's
Yep.
not it doesn't take 50 cents to make a bottle. It's way more costly than that. So it demands a higher price point because of that. So a place like Whole Foods is like I said, that's a dream spot. Hopefully we can get there one day, which would be great. But the process is a little weird. So when I went on their website, like I applied and I filled out some forms or whatever for the application, and all this stuff. And it's hard to tell if it goes anywhere because you get like a semi basic response from these people, and they're like, "Oh, wait to hear from us." I was like, "Okay, I don't.
Okay. Now
What does
what?
that mean?"
Yeah. Now what?
Okay.
Gotcha. Right? Yeah.
What do we do? So I had found out through a friend that possibly one of the regional managers is at a local store here. So I started reaching out to them directly, just to no high pressure thing again, just to call them and just basically say our brand name and talk to them and explain to them the situation with filling stuff out online and not going knowing if it went anywhere. Can they check their system to see if
You're
our
doing a
application.
follow up. Yeah, you're just following
Yeah,
up on
basically.
your
Yeah.
application.
But I wanted to go to this local store because I believe they're one of the larger Whole Foods in the area, and I believe their regional manager. I don't know if it's his home base or whatever it is, but I think he's at that locale often. Um, so eventually, I'm gonna. I figure after like the third or fourth phone call, I'm just gonna stop by there on my way home from work and just see if I can talk to this guy in person. And then there's a couple other local small health food chains that are in our area that I'm going to reach out to. And then I actually had a couple places. I know we spoke about this on the phone. I had a
Hmm.
couple places from Canada reach out to me and see if the product could be sold up in Canada, which
Isn't
is
that isn't
listen,
that
it's
cool?
great. Yeah, it's such a great thing. Like I said, this is all part of it. Anybody like that starts reaching out to us and talking to us, like it's all giving us the drive to just keep this thing motivated every day, every week, every month, and keep progressing, and just keep making it better and better. And it's like, the packaging is going to change a little bit here and there. We're going to develop, what happens in your head sometimes when you plop it out on paper, it doesn't always work. So you have to adjust and kind of be on the fly, and you don't want to dedicate yourself to something that's forever. And as far as buying like a million labels, and then all of a sudden they come out and there's like a little glitch, and you're like, "Fuck me! I just bought a
Fuck.
million of
Yeah.
these things."
Yeah.
Like it's like, let's say it's not the printer's fault or it's not anybody's fault. It's just something that you missed, and it's like now you got it. Now you're really head over heels in this thing. Um, to where we're kind of doing it on as a large enough scale to save money, and not paying the super premium prices for things, but on a small enough scale that if we do screw up here and there, we can kind of adjust. We can kind of change it, make it better for the next time around, for the next batch, for the next production cycle, whatever you want to call it. And so I believe every time we do it, we're going to make it a little bit better, and it's going to be, it's just what I like. It's what I see in products on the shelf that I like. I believe we should have some of that stuff. I had all these ideas of having embossed labels and raised lettering and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And then I
Yeah.
went to the label guy and he was like, "Yeah, we could do all that stuff, but it's going to be this for the label, or it's going to be this price for the label." I was like, "Well, that other label looks fine, I guess."
Yeah.
you know. So it's
Everything in
It's a learning
stages.
experience.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's all in
it
stages,
sounds like you're letting the product evolve on its own,
Yeah, yeah. I
right?
mean,
Like,
it has to. It has to. It has to tell me what it wants. Like the general public has to tell me what they want as far as the products. Like one of the biggest things for people that really like heat, right? Like I don't market this as a hot sauce. Like it's not a hot sauce. I can't. When I first started making it, I would tell people, yeah, it's a hot sauce, and then that doesn't make sense for what this is. So then we kind of shifted gears, and I was like, you know what, we can't say hot sauce anymore, because hot sauce is typically a 5-ounce bottle of a highly pureed, usually highly potent flavoring, right?
yeah,
So it's something you use a little bit on, you put it in your soup, you put it on your taco, okay, all wonderful. We were finding out that most people, they were going through a half a bottle of Angry Duck in the first night.
yeah, dude. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
douse. You could literally douse this on anything. I've been actually mean to tell you. I think you might be in your own market category. You might have
it's
created your own
weird.
market category.
It's a weird situation, because like I said, I can't. So I stopped using the hot sauce thing, and I started just saying condiment, because one, we sell a 13-ounce package, right? So we're almost triple what a hot sauce bottle would be, because
Yeah,
people go through it so fast that it doesn't make sense to sell it in a small bottle. It just doesn't. I have people asking me for like quart sizes and gallon sizes, and
yeah, I
like,
could see that.
you know, people getting like nutty with it, because it's just something they go through so damn fast, and they want to get it like to where it's at a point where they don't have to ask me anymore. Because when I was making it on my own without the manufacturer, listen, it's time consuming. You got life and 2 kids, and you got to buy the produce, you got to chop, it's hours worth of work, and then bottling it, and doing all that stuff, for a few guys at work. I love the guys, and I'm here basically because they were the initial people that really drove me to get to this point.
That's cool.
But at the same time, it's like, man, I wasn't doing this every night. Like, like I got a life,
Yeah,
I got stuff to do. So even if I did it once every other week and made a dozen bottles or 2 dozen bottles or whatever, that's fine, but it was just time consuming after a while. And and then going and getting, I got real immersion blenders and like doing all this stuff in my house. I
yeah,
was like, oh my Lord. But now with the manufacturer, it's way easier. Now I just have it, and it's always readily available. And
yeah.
whenever I need it, I could just call, and they make me whatever I need, and it's a great thing. So
Have you always been a foodie?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I've been cooking since I was a baby.
same.
I came from a food family, and um, I've always been into food, and I was supposed to go to the Culinary Institute when I was like 18.
Right.
Um, so I was actually I wanted to be a chef. I always worked in restaurants as a kid, and selling food, and working in delis, and all this stuff, and being able to be creative with food is a wonderful thing. And then my father was way smarter than me, and he told me, he says, yeah, he says, why don't you, this is when I was living down south. He says, yeah, he says, why don't you come up here? He says, start working with me. Works in heavy construction, and he was going to teach me some of that stuff. He says, why don't you just come up here? He says, and you can work around some heavy equipment and stuff, and you can learn that, because I was always into cars and mechanics, as we spoke of before.
Hmm.
He figured it would jive. It works. It's same mechanical type stuff. And then when you're ready, you can go to the Culinary Institute. It's listen, it's top rated school in the world. The CIA. And so I was like, yeah, great. I looked up the Culinary Institute. Wow, I could come out of there making $100,000 a year as a chef, and all this stuff. I'm like, man, I'll be killing it. And then he had me start working, and I was like working 1 day a week, and I was looking at my check, and I was like, hey man, I'm doing okay here. And he's
For
like,
one
yeah.
day a week?
Yeah, I was 1 day a week. You got to figure, I was living down in Tennessee. I was working at a deli in Tennessee. I was probably making like maybe $150 a week, and then I come up here and into New York, and I'm working 1 day a week, and I was making $385 a week.
Oh fuck.
And I was like, I was 18. I was like, wow. I was like, this is crazy. He's like, well, he says, so for you to keep up with that pace, he says, he says, forget about culinary school. He says, you can cook at home, you can do whatever you want at home. That's a great hobby. That's wonderful. What I think you should do is stay in the industry, he says, and just become one of the best in the industry. He says, just put everything into this, You know, you
Smart.
like it, you have a passion for it, and you're making money now. You're not waiting 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is, with guesswork on if you're going to be able to work at a restaurant that's going to be working you like a dog 365, and you're going to be starting off at the bottom. And it like I said, he was extremely aggressive with that part of my life, and definitely pushed me in the right direction. And it was still, listen, being an 18-year-old kid living in New York, making good money and all that stuff. It was definitely an interesting time in my life, and I don't take anything back. I don't regret anything about it.
That would have been
Um,
20 years ago too.
it's 22 years ago.
22 years
Yeah,
ago. Fuck,
22 years
that's
ago.
good
Yeah, I
money.
started in 99. I started in 99, and I was almost turning 19 at the time. So, yeah, this June will be 22 years in the business, and it's pretty awesome. It's an awesome industry. I love it. I have a passion for it. I love doing what I do for a living, and I always have. And it's as as much as it's scary, and it's tough, and all that stuff. It's another thing that really keeps you thinking at all times.
Hmm.
There's no room for real error. You do have to be on top of your game a lot, and you meet a lot of interesting people. You meet a lot of great people, and it's a very, when you have a good crew, it's a family type of environment.
Cool.
These guys are your brothers and your sisters, and your uncles and your aunts, and these are all people that you feel, have some influence on your life. And it's typically a great experience. I've been on very few jobs where you just really hate going, and it's really tough. But the best thing about construction is that these things are designed to end. Typically these jobs are designed to end. At some point you're going to get laid off, and you're going to move on to another job, and that's okay. Sometimes you want it faster than others, but it is what it is. So, but
That's
yeah, it
cool.
was it was a good thing. It was a good thing, and I've always kept up with my cooking on the side, and I've always developed more and more of it. And like a few years ago, I got into, a friend of mine got me into smoking meats,
Oh yeah.
and doing briskets and ribs, and
Yeah.
all this stuff at home and in the backyard. And I was like, wow, I was like, this is like a whole new thing.
Yep.
So I started doing all that outdoor cooking, and getting into more barbecuing, and it's been a lot of fun. So it's good. And now with this outlet, it's just even more. Now I can take pictures of everything, and
Put it
do little
online.
funny videos with it, and put it
Yeah.
online, and see if people like it, and whatever, man. Like, it's great.
Well, you're keeping it light and you're keeping it fun, and I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where it's got to start. Just keep it light and fun.
yeah. I mean, why wouldn't it be? I mean, it's food. Well, you can't, don't, like,
How do you not
I mean,
stress out?
how do I
Like,
not stress out?
yeah, you just seem like, man, you just
Yeah,
seem like such an easygoing, just
yeah,
like
yeah.
everything just slides off the duck's back. No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Like
you have
water off a
so
duck's
much
back,
stuff.
right?
Like you got so much stuff going on. How are you
Yeah.
not like?
I don't know. You know what? Because to me, it doesn't even feel like it doesn't, it doesn't feel like it's anything. It just is, it's just life. It doesn't feel like it's too much. It just feels like this is what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't know what else I should be doing, because when I don't, the issue is, like I told you in the beginning, when I don't do anything, when I have idle time, it's not like my brain slows down. It's not like it just like takes time off and it's like, oh, we're sitting on the couch now, we're gonna hang out. It doesn't do that. I don't know what it's made for, but my brain just goes, and it just keeps going, and it's like the little Energizer bunny.
Like
I have
it's
to.
just spitting ideas out. Like
Oh yeah,
you're always
all
getting an
day.
idea.
Oh yeah, all day, and it's usually like off the cuff. Like
Yeah,
somebody will
same.
ask me, like, well, oh, what do you think about this? And boom, 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 boom. There's the answer. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, that's what works for me. And usually I just stick to it because that's what came out. Right. Like, that's, if it's a stupid thing, then obviously, I'll probably like think about it and say, well, that was pretty dumb to do. You don't want to do that again.
Learning
But
experience.
you know what it is, but that's with anything, you know. I mean, it's with anything. Like, trust me, there's stuff like I love customizing my cars and doing different things to them, and there's plenty of ideas that I thought I had that were great ideas, and all of a sudden I put all these hours of work into making something work, and the first time I take it out, I fucking break the thing to pieces, and I'm like, well, that was fucking bad. That was a bad one. Yeah, don't do that again. You know, sometimes it's better to leave things alone. You know, just because something looks nice and you want it to look good, you know, there's a reason why some of these car companies put millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into development. And then here we are monkeying around in the driveway trying to make things better. You're not making anything better. Like,
Right?
you know,
Yeah.
it might look cool and it might sound cool and it might perform better for like a minute, you know, compared to the total lifespan of the vehicle, you know. But there's certain things where you have to kind of back off. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's my thought process. It's just, I try to treat everything with honesty. You know, I don't try to bubble wrap my thoughts and like make everything like, oh, that's the best thought ever, because I try to poke holes in everything. You know, I try to really figure out why it shouldn't work. And I think that's a great place to start, you know, because
Why
if
it
you, if you
shouldn't
just,
work, why it should
yeah,
not
why?
work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why shouldn't it work? Like, it just, how many ways can this really go wrong? You know, what can we do to combat that stuff? You know, because before anything goes right, it's going to go wrong. You know, it's way before it goes right, it's going to go wrong. So it's not, it's something that, like, listen, if this was going to turn into $1 billion idea, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to have so many speed bumps. It's going to have so many pitfalls. It's going to have so many wrong things happen to it before it gets to that point. You know, it's not a lotto ticket. It's not anything like that. So I have to constantly think about that stuff. So, you know, for me, like when I have an idea or I have 10 ideas, it doesn't matter if what's in there. I'm just constantly working them out, you know, constantly adding stuff to them, taking stuff away. And then eventually, you know, I try to speak to as many people as I can about my ideas. Like, I truly don't hold anything back. I let everything just out, and I get feedback. I get feedback from friends, from family, from my kids, from coworkers. You know, I get feedback from everybody. Some of it's negative, and I'm like, well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about because I'm still doing it, and or you know, some of it's negative and it makes sense to me, and or some of it's just positive, or some of it's too positive because people just are afraid to upset you.
Gotcha.
So they're just like too light and fluffy. But like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, listen, man, that one's a little off the edge for me. Even me, you know, that one was a little over. But you know, some of this stuff, it's just what attracts me as a customer and a consumer, right? Like if I'm walking through a liquor store and I see certain bottles and certain labels and stuff like that, like I'm not a wine connoisseur. I'm not a bourbon connoisseur. There's certain things that will catch my eye, that are marketing tactics that work.
Right.
So why can't I utilize the same stuff? Like nobody's going to know the product until you know the product. And, you know, so for us, like getting the label right, and in a land of, you ever go to a condiment aisle or a hot sauce aisle or whatever, it's a land of black and red and, you know, dark green and purple and all these dark colors. And then all of a sudden you have this one little angry duck bottle that's just white and yellow and green and bright and looks like a tropical flavor. And you're like,
Holy
oh,
shit, I never thought of that. I was just going
like
down the condiment aisle that I was down earlier. You're right, man. It's all red.
it's a light, that product is a fucking light bulb, man. Like that's a like, and all this
Holy
stuff
shit.
like that, like everybody's talking to me about it, and they're like, man, like where are you coming up with this shit? I'm like, what do you mean, where am I coming up with it? I'm like, what are you attracted to when you go to a store? Like, don't you want fresh and nice and light and fluffy and happy and fun, and don't you want all that stuff in
Sometimes
your
people
life?
don't
Like,
think about that stuff when they're in a
you
store.
don't, because it's in your subconscious. You truly don't think about that stuff, and that's something that's a real thing, right? That's an absolutely real thing. You honestly don't think about that stuff. So, um, you know, but it does come from somewhere because you are attracted to that stuff naturally. Like, why do you think people like birthday cake and shit like that? That because it's a light, fluffy thing that attracts you to it. You know, people like sparkly, shiny things. I don't know. People just do. You know, that's some do, some don't, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a thing. So, you know, so when I started spitting all this stuff out, you know, I ended up with the young lady that does my marketing for me. that's helping me with the brand development stuff. She, thank God, she is the way she is, because all this, like, to a lot of people, the way I am, gives
Mm.
other people anxiety, right? Like, they can't listen to this. Like, they can't listen to 100 ideas get dumped out on a table and have to sort through them for me, and be able to tell me, listen, this isn't going to work. This is going to work, and all that stuff. And luckily, this young lady, I don't know if she was a therapist in a past life, or maybe she had a thousand little brothers and sisters or something. I don't know. But whatever it is, she can calm me down. She can get me focused, and she doesn't mind sifting through my pile of shit to come out with all the solid ideas. And not she doesn't put the rest of them in a dumpster. She just pushes them to the side and says, when we're looking for stuff, then maybe we can pluck a couple of those ideas out of that pile of stuff that you gave me, and
Yeah.
we'll start adding them to it. But we need to get the basis down. We need to get a foundation down. We need to get this stuff going in a direction, and then we'll add in some of the other spicy ideas and some of the other stuff for the marketing. And to be working with a person like that, it changes everything, because without people like that around me, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff, because then it would just be a ball of ideas running
Yep.
around and running around with no execution, and execution is the only way to make it happen,
Yep.
so
I get a friend who's like that. Knock on wood, he's a marketing guy as well.
yeah,
So I'm able to spit my ideas out at him,
that's
and
beautiful.
yeah, and he's like, okay, maybe you should hold off on this one, go with this one. Are you sure you want to keep doing this one?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Has this been working?
yeah, like in our, we had a conversation. I got tons of projects on the go. This is the
Yeah,
podcast, just one of them. But this
yeah,
for me it's an outlet, right? It's a way
yep,
for me to get out and
sure.
meet people, see what else is out in the world, and here I am.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I really I appreciate the time, man. It's been great. Like, since we've just chatting on, Instagram and stuff, and then getting you on the phone and all that stuff. I mean, this stuff is great. It really is. I love having the experience, you know, and getting it out there. I
Well,
really hope.
you really are an inspiring guy. Your story is
Oh, thank you.
inspiring, and I think you're the very first person I ever met from New York.
Really?
Yeah, like a real New Yorker.
Oh,
Dude, you
yeah.
even
Well,
hey, being
there's
I gotta ask you a
there's a
question though.
few of us. I mean,
Being a heavy construction guy,
yeah.
is it like the stereotype that I see in the movies where like the girl walks by and you're all
Oh,
like,
the cat calling and all the
yeah,
other
oh hell
nonsense.
yeah.
You know what's crazy? So, okay, I'm not gonna say it's not like that. I mean,
Oh, cool.
it's not as overt as that, or
Okay.
whatever it is. But what's funny is that when I started dating my wife, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a protective individual, just all the way around. So I started dating my wife. She's born and raised in Brooklyn girl. She's a Brooklyn through and through. Um, After like the first week or whatever, I gave her like a pocket knife and a can of pepper spray, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "You work in a city." I said, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "You're a girl." I was like, I said, "I don't know how you don't have this stuff already." I said, "What's going on with you?" And she was like, "Yeah, but I can't pepper spray somebody." And I was like, "Sure you can." I was like, "What are you, fucking crazy?" So I told her, I said, "Listen," I said, "You want me to be honest with you?" I said, "If you're ever in trouble," and this goes for any woman, USA, international, wherever you are in your life,
Hmm.
if you are ever in trouble and you are near a construction site, I am 100% honest on this. If you are ever in trouble and you are near a construction site and some guy is chasing you or somebody is chasing you and you are in fear for your life, you step onto that construction site. There is nothing more than those guys would like to do except take care of your problem for you.
I can
I
believe
said,
that.
so that's the number one thing I told her. I said, "You're in the city." I said, "You're on any construction project, near any construction project. Somebody's chasing you through the street." I said, "You jump right into that construction project and say that there's a guy trying to kill you, trying to rape you, trying to anything." I said, "You will have 100 fucking guys down there ready to take care of business." I said, "And that is no joke." I said, I said, people sit there and say the cat calling and all this other stuff. I said, every one of those guys, typically, every one of those guys is a brother. They're all sons.
Mm.
They're fathers. They're all that stuff. I said, and they're true, honest, hardworking guys. I said, and anybody that has any issues, especially a female, comes running onto their site. I said, they're ready to get down to business. I said, because I know we've had that issue on my jobs, and there, I'll tell you what, that stuff gets stopped in its tracks, and those guys just turn around and they walk away because there's nothing you can do. And
That is
I said, we're
good.
one of the most protective um, people in the industry, and we protect each other, and we will certainly protect a woman on the street.
Like a
I said,
brotherhood.
so yeah, absolutely. It's a cultural thing. It really is a cultural thing, and it's something. Like I said, it's
Interesting.
been, I'm a third generation, union worker in the city, and it's just it's part of my entire life, and it'll always be ingrained in me, and it's something that I love, and it's something my kids even love. They love coming to the jobs, and I'm showing them the different projects that we're doing, and it's something that I absolutely have a passion for. I absolutely love, and it's a wonderful thing. And working in New York is just it's just great. You see all kinds of weird stuff, and you get to see like, I mean, how many people can say they worked on a Brooklyn Bridge or the Trade Center, or
Yeah.
working. I mean, I was part of the recovery project for the Trade Center after 9/11,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, I mean, I've had a pretty extensive career, so I've had some pretty crazy stuff throughout my career, my working career, and then, regular
Wow.
life and everything else. I mean, there's a lot going on. So, for me, it was, it's definitely something to keep my interest the entire time throughout my career. And it still obviously still does every day. Um, so it's definitely a passionate thing for me. And I love, I love seeing the projects go, and I love seeing them develop, and I love seeing people get skilled at what their choice of labor is, whether you're an iron worker, whether you're a crane operator, or a laborer, or whatever it is. You know I love seeing people work. I love seeing people being productive, and I love seeing people get a good day's worth of work out of them and being proud of what they do. Um, and being able to look up and say, I did that, or I had a hand in this. And yeah, some days are really tough. Some days are tough and they don't go the way you want them to. But then you get really, really good days where you feel very fulfilled, and it's nice. It's a good income, and it's a great way of life, if you can handle it, and keep up with it, because it's demanding. My whole career has been career first. And I've always put it first, no matter what. Even getting into relationships with different people, and having girlfriends and all that stuff. My career was, I was basically on call. I still am basically on call for my entire career. So at any given point, I can get a phone call and they say, we need you in the city. All right, I got to go. So, and that's it. And that there's no saying no. You don't do that. Because you say no, the phone stops ringing, right?
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then and it's just like this. If I
Yep.
if I don't answer my customers, why are they going to call me?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
why are they wasting their
Yep.
time? So my whole career was like that. And I used to have, for certain contractors and certain things, I had special ringers on my phones, and like, things were like, you got to figure, in my early 20s, mid 20s, things got crazy. Through my 30s, they got nuts, because then you start gaining experience, and you start gaining a name for yourself, and you start doing all this stuff, and everything
You
starts
start getting
compounding into
requested, and people start wanting to work with you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And when you're a safe person and you're good at what you do, and you're productive, and you have a good mindset, um, there's no stopping you. Like they say, the way to make more money is to increase your skill set, right? Like, that's, nobody's just going to hand you money. Like, you expect to work at McDonald's and make minimum wage, and somebody's just going to hand you $30 an hour one day, when you know all you're doing is ringing up people at the register, and you can develop yourself beyond that.
Yeah.
You could put in the extra effort to become a night manager, and then to become a real manager, and a franchise holder, and then a regional manager, or whatever it might be. You have the right to develop all that stuff, and it doesn't matter what industry it is. You can develop yourself into something that's um, that's more profitable to them and to yourself. They're People are willing to give you the money. Like, they I don't I've never looked at any industry where somebody was of value, and that industry didn't reward them for that, you know. And it's if you just step in and you're phoning it in every day and you're like, hey, you know, this place sucks and this and that, you know, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Like, they're not, you know, people see that, you know, no matter what, they see that energy, they feel that energy. And why are they going to put you in a position of, one, you know, higher pay, which typically comes with higher responsibility?
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to give you more responsibility if you're basic at what you're doing now. Like go above and beyond, you know, go above and beyond, do what you're supposed to do, and show up early. I'm not saying, listen, I don't, you know, I'm not saying, you know, kiss everybody's ass and do all that stuff and, you know, whatever, but be there on time all the time, you know, show up early, you know, just don't bitch and moan if there's something doesn't go your way one day. And listen, put it in your little memory bank. And then when they need a favor from you, you'd be like, hey, you remember that day I had to stay like a couple hours late or a half hour late and you guys didn't pay me for it? You know how I didn't really complain about that? Well, today I got to leave early. So, you know,
Yeah.
You know, whatever, work it out. I mean, but you have to find that value within yourself. And if something's not working for you, if you're doing a job that's really not working for you, that you don't really have a passion for, then I suggest, you know, don't quit, but try to find something else and then quit, you know, and, you know, try to find something else that's making you money. Don't just be like, fuck this place. Well, slow down, you know. You know, there's a certain aspect of, you know, you have to keep a roof over your head and, you know, keep money in your pocket and all that other stuff. So
Much. You're just a wealth of great advice.
oh, great.
Yeah, no, man, you're just a wealth of great advice for a
Yeah.
guy, you know, who's like you're a new entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Lots
Yeah.
of business knowledge already. We're gonna wrap it up right away, but
All right.
where can people find you online?
So our Instagram is easy. You know, that's pretty much direct contact with me and with the product and all that stuff. That's Angry Duck Revolution. You know, at Angry Duck Revolution on Instagram, and then angryduckrevolution.com is where we have so far we have our single flavor out, the original, and you'll see some coming soon stuff there. And then we have, you know, some t-shirts and some hats and some swag stuff. We have some masks for people that are you know, masking it up and all that stuff. So, you know, and you know, people can reach out to me anytime they want, man. I mean, it's you know, I started getting to a point where I had to turn the notifications off on Instagram because I was starting to get like a little bit too much of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, with the kids and stuff like that, it's you know, you kind of have to switch gears a little bit with that. Again, I'm new to social media, so I don't want that to become like too much of my life.
Yep.
But I still want to be able to answer people's questions and you know, because I haven't started doing like full recipes and stuff online. We do some of the food that we make. So once we you know, once we develop a little bit more and I start doing some more content, maybe we're going to start doing some videos and some speaking videos and stuff like that. I'm just really kind of leery on that stuff. I don't know how to really present myself like that yet. So once maybe I get more comfortable with that side of things, and then with the car stuff, I'm going to start doing some maybe content videos. I have a guy that's going to shoot some commercial stuff with us.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be cool. So we're going to do some development stuff with the car stuff, and you know, figure out how to give a car away. You know, I don't know how to do it. I want to give a car. I want to give something to somebody. I want to give it away. So I want to build this car. And it's a great color. It's a good interior combination. It's just a fun car, you know. But it's not like a overly expensive car or anything like that. It's something that hopefully somebody will keep. Or, you know, listen, they could whatever they want to do with it. But hopefully, you know, it's something that somebody will like and they'll keep, and they won't be afraid to drive, and they can just, you know, fucking send it, man. Like, break it. I don't care. Like slide it around, bring it to a track, have fun with it. You know, that's like the whole, you know, that's the whole point of it. Like, I want to see the videos. I want to see like what you do with this. Don't blow it up or anything like that. That's sad. You know, I hate when I like there's all these new videos of people smashing cars. I'm like, like, that's fucking horrible. Like, I mean, I get why they do it. You know, it's like the smashing the PS5. You know, I get why you're doing it.
I don't like seeing that stuff either.
Oh, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. It breaks my heart.
Take it to a track, drive it fast. Let's see what it can do.
Yeah, man. Like, listen, if you smash it into a wall at that point, hey, listen, that's kind of what it was there for. But you know, but to just like throw a brick through the fucking window.
No.
Yeah, it's like, no, please.
Let's see how many people are left that can drive a stick shift.
Yeah, well, see, that's one of the things that's one of the things that's going to have to happen with that car is you're going to have to be able to drive it out of here.
Oh fuck! It's gonna be a stick
Yeah.
shift.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
in.
stick shift car.
I
Yeah,
am.
stick shift car, cable quadrant, cable clutch, so there's no hydraulic clutch, no nothing. Like it's you got to know how to drive. Like I'm building stuff for people that want to know how to drive. And if you don't know how to drive, then maybe I'll teach you. I don't give a fuck. I'll spend a weekend with you if you want me to teach you. You know,
Awesome.
I had a quick little story. I sold a car to a friend of mine. His son, he came. He couldn't drive a stick shift car. His father drove the car, loved the car, whatever. Um, Told his son, he says, listen, he says, you don't know how to drive it. You can't. There's no way you're taking this car home. Like, all right. I said it sucked because it was a good car and the kid was passionate about cars and it was a great entry level muscle car. It was a 88 or 89 Celine Mustang.
Oh wow.
Really, yeah,
Yeah.
nice car. Really nice car.
Silly
Rare
nice.
car. So that kid went for the next month, I think month and a half. I get a phone call from the kid. He says, listen, I want to come down and buy the car. I said, listen, your father said you can't buy the car. He says, don't worry about it. All right. So he came down with his father. He jumped in the car and he drove away with it, like to take it for a ride. And I looked at his father and I said, what the fuck is that? And he goes, yo, he spent the last month learning how to drive stick shift just so he could buy this car from you.
Oh wow.
I was like, really? Cool. I said, I certainly hope you're going to buy the fucking car for him now. He's like, yeah. He's like, I am. I was like, all right, great. But it's dedication like that I like to see in people. So, this is going to be one of those things, man. Like there's a caveat to life, right? Like there's a caveat to everything. Like you want to live long, you got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
You want to win this car, you got to be able to drive this motherfucker. Like,
yeah.
let's do this.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, and I'm sure if I if somebody wins and they truly cannot drive the car, they truly, I'll work it out with them and I'll end up keeping the car and I'll do something for them. I'm sure that'll be of the equivalent, so.
Well, you just keep doing what you're doing because sounds to me like you're doing everything right with.
I appreciate that
with your business and just who you are as a human being. I certainly appreciate meeting you.
Sandra, I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. I mean, dude, you're just a straight up cool guy.
Thank you.
So before we go, I just want to let you know. So my last guest, his name was Keith from Up the Block. He's a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
I found him on YouTube by accident, and so we were talking last. One of the things he told me was to not focus on the how, but just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was telling him about these ideas I have too, and it sounds to me like I said you're doing everything right. You're just going ahead and doing it.
Yeah.
You're just making it happen, and if it happens, fantastic, and if it doesn't, you tried.
Yeah, you switch gears. You switch gears a little bit, and you try something else. Like I said, as long as you don't put yourself into financial destitute because you had this great idea and it's floundering and floundering and floundering and you just keep throwing money at it. I mean, you gotta gauge yourself a little bit. Like, not saying that it's a bad idea, but just maybe you're not ready for that yet. You don't have the finances, you don't have the recognition, you don't have whatever it is to make that work. You don't have it right now. So just put it on the back burner. Doesn't mean you got to walk away from it forever. Just put it on the back burner. And when you're ready and it's ready and everything's groovy, then you can go back at it again. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this. Like there's 1,000 things I want to do, but like renting a billboard on the Jersey Turnpike for Angry Duck is not something that's even feasible right now because people are just going to look at it and they're going to be like, that's cute. What the fuck is this? Like nobody knows what it is.
It must be expensive up there for that kind
I'm
of
sure
stuff.
It is. I'm sure it is. I haven't even looked into it because there's no point. It's something I would love to do it because you get so many, so much traffic and all that stuff in those areas that it just makes sense. Even if it's only up there for a month. I mean, what kind of traffic do I really need to create? I don't need millions and millions and millions of bottle sales. I'm not a large company where I need that. I just need a little bit of recognition and a little bit of consistent sales and a little bit of consistent growth. And that turns into something else. And it, like I said, creates brand awareness. And once we have brand awareness, maybe that'll raise a few eyebrows. And once we raise a few eyebrows, then you never know, you never know who might be knocking on the door, so, that's a big part of it.
Cool.
So awesome, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I hope I did well for you. I hope I did okay. I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
No, I think you did great, man. You did
Oh, thank you.
fantastic. Yeah, I'll figure out where to chop the end. Um,
Yeah, sure.
you're okay that I upload this to YouTube? I do a
Absolutely.
beginning and end. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
sure.
saw my social media, but I changed my logo a little bit, and what I like
Yeah,
to
I saw.
do is put the face of the person that I'm talking to in it.
Okay.
But for you, I was thinking if you want, I could put the Angry Duck logo in it,
Sure. Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
And then I do a thing on Instagram, and then same thing on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. I saw the
So
little promotional stuff on Instagram.
yeah,
I like that.
like I'm
It's
still
great.
growing too. Like this for
Listen, man.
me is a giant therapy session,
Yeah.
right? And just, dude, like you're a wealth. You literally are a wealth of knowledge.
Oh,
You
yeah. Well,
probably don't
it's all in there, dude.
you
It's
don't
all in there.
realize it, but it's like the fat guy that loses weight. He doesn't notice it in the mirror, or he doesn't
Yeah.
notice it until some other people notice it,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Yeah.
with you, you just sound like you've been doing it for years. But
Hmm.
I guess it's
Oh,
the learning experience, right?
I guess, man. You know what it is like a lot of the stuff that I've dealt with in my personal career stuff. Being in union trades, I'm constantly like negotiating on the job and explaining contracts and explaining legal ramification stuff if we do certain things and
Ah,
if we
yeah,
go against contracts, and you know what I'm saying. So I have a lot of speaking to people
yeah,
under my belt. That I try to keep people invited into the conversation and not block people away from the conversation to have them shut their
right,
doors. Because when you're speaking about contractual stuff, it's very easy for people to get to a point where they get so upset within the conversation they can't hear you anymore. And to try to not lose people and to try to let them understand that you're really trying to help them understand what they've signed on to versus what they thought they could manipulate.
no,
um,
gotcha,
it certainly developed something within me over the last 20 plus years of doing that. And I try to give people a lot of room within a conversation as far as that type of stuff. So that's what I'm doing, the same thing with the business. I try to give myself a little bit of latitude to make mistakes and talk to different people and,
smart,
and try to develop things that way. Because when you start funneling people into a certain thing, whether it's emotionally, whether it's within a conversation, or whether it's physically,
hmm,
listen, you back somebody into a corner, there's only one way for that person to get out, and that's through you.
yeah,
It's not working with you. So within a conversation, it's the same exact thing. So you have to be careful with people, and people are generally sensitive. I'm sure you know that.
yeah,
They want their side to be heard, and they want to feel important, and
yeah.
listen, none of us are really that important. Like, we all have our own emotional side to shit. So I think that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. So, and coming from a big family that used to argue and whatever, man, like, I know how to argue with people.
You're a
I'm good.
fucking New Yorker.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, I'm not afraid of
Awesome,
an argument. I'm good.
awesome, my man. Hey, one more time so people can find you at angryduckrevolutions.com.
Yeah, angryduckrevolution.com. That's where you can order. It's free shipping. For the next little while, we're going to be doing Welcome 15 for 15% off your total order for the next little while.
That's
We're
free
gonna
shipping
have
in the U.S. though, right?
free shipping in the U.S.
Free shipping
Correct.
in the U.S.
In
Canada a little bit more.
international stuff, I'm gonna have to work on shipping charges. It might be like an after order charge or
Yep.
something like that. I'm trying to work that type of stuff out. But no matter what, you'll get the product, and then we'll work out the money stuff after. I'm not worried about that.
All good. All good.
If you can't, for some reason, if people can't order it through the website, if you're international, just reach out to me on Instagram and I'll get it out to you. I've sent bottles around the world.
At
I've
Angry
sent
Duck
bottles.
Revolution.
Yeah, at Angry Duck Revolution on Instagram, and you can reach out directly to me through Messenger on that, and I'll get you all set up and we'll get you squared away, and then we'll work out the finance part after. Don't worry about that. If it's something you're interested in, reach out to me and I'll see if I can work with you. Obviously, if there's a huge influx of millions of people, then great.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
So, all right.
Well,
So,
thanks for
again,
coming
thank you
on,
so
man.
much. Yeah, no
We
problem.
appreciate
Anytime.
it. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you on Instagram sometime or Messenger. I'll just give
Yeah,
you a call and you
absolutely,
keep in
brother.
touch. Don't be a stranger.
Call me. Call me anytime. You call me anytime.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks, Eric, man.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.